truth? Are you tired of being so confused? You feel like you're more pent up than the lies on the evening news. Well, just step right in. We can talk about it all as friends. And if you want, we can hug and kiss and make up for the party ends. Agree or disagree, stop offering me. 'Cause I'm everything you want, damn sure what you need. I won't tell no lies, back up on the facts with truth. And if you can't get down with that, you must be somebody's dude.
Real important message here. If you haven't checked it out yet, you absolutely have to. There is this
Ryan Samuels hasn't been on in a while. We're getting Ryan on. He texted. I didn't even think Leroy, Amy, and Olivia knew he was in our chat group. But Ryan started showing up a lot. Was here for elections, and I don't know what happened. He came out to visit the show, and he was one of the first people to see the studio. And then I don't know, it kind of died off. So he's like, "Hey, I'll come in and help anytime anybody wants." And we're like, "Ryan, you're still alive." So we're gonna get him back on the show.
podcast that I'm sure some of you have seen me on. It's phenomenal. It's called The Dumb Show.
Damn
or
right
The
it is.
Don't Unfriend Me Show. You can find them on all social media at The Dumb Show or visit thedumbshow.com.
Looks like we're getting boosted on Rumble,
Listen to their
folks.
podcast.
Looks like we are an
Absolutely
editor's choice
perfect with
tonight.
host
So
Matthew Spear.
they've selected our show for editor's choice over on Rumble. So we should see some good numbers.
Come on, man. Can you feel the pain? Into him now. About the new world.
Go get some coffee, folks. Amazing coffee. Get some.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The Dumb Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.
What's going on, everybody? Chat has been updated. I've been speaking to the people on Ecamm. They're going to fix this thing with the video, and we should not have that problem tonight. If we have any audio issues, you just got to tell us, and we'll figure it out. But they've made some really good updates on the software, not excluding the chat, which is also getting a full overhaul. Where it's actually going to stream in the show, and we can set it based upon people's interaction. So if people like somebody's comment, it's going to pop up and show. They're creating, and we're going to be beta testing for them from now on. So Ecamm is a great platform. I talked to him tonight and said, why don't you guys just make me a beta tester and get this over with? So that's what we're going to be doing, and we're excited about it. But welcome, everybody. Comments will be posted throughout the screens now as best as I can, but soon it'll be done automatically. April 16th, Scott Lloyd will be here for a quick 15-20 minute update. He wants to tell us what's going on with his appeal. He won it. Now it's the vote. Adam and Beth Coogan ran from the law for 3.5 years for 2000, or from January 6th. He met Beth while he was on the run. Now they're married. Barry Morgenstein will be here April 22nd. Damani Felder is here on the 1st. T.S. Dixon is here on the 15th. And we still have like 4 or 5 other people to book. And we're losing May spots. So if you want to get booked, now's the time. You can reach out to Olivia at thedumbshow.com if you want to be on the show. Lastly, our goal is up. Donations are up $300, and we're within 1 second of the pre-show. And $300 is up. You can go to the Don't Unfriend Me show, and you can donate there. Pretty simple. All you got to do, head on over to thedumbshow.com/donate. My good friend Leroy is here tonight. My buddy, my pal. What is going on, Leroy? How are you?
How's it going, folks? It is a pleasure to be here tonight. There's been so much happening in the last 2, 3, 5 days
Yeah.
that I've actually had a hard time keeping up with everything between down pilots who have been rescued and mean and nasty language from the president that people want to debate online and hang me over. And just there's just been so much going on.
Yeah, yeah. We have a bunch of stuff going on. I just got announced. I asked some people to stay tuned. Donald Trump has extended another 2 weeks. And I think people need to understand that geopolitical chess is a real thing. Now, 4D chess is not, but geopolitical chess is, and this is most assuredly he is speaking an Iranian language right now. You understand? So when he says we're going to destroy the civilization of Iran, he's not talking about dropping a nuke and killing 90 million people, folks. He's talking about we're going to destroy your water. We're going to destroy your power. We're going to destroy your bridges. We are going to set you back and destroy your civilization as you know it, which is a fairly modern civilization. It's not trapped in the days of Cuba because of embargoes. Do I condone the language? We're going to talk about it. We've got plenty of that on tonight. We're going to discuss that. We're going to talk about the raid itself. We're going to talk about the irony of Easter and some of the comments that he made. Jordan Peterson and I literally say the exact same thing. I can't wait to show you that video. That was exciting. We're going to go over Mark Ozgeist was actually on Benny today, and who is a friend of the show through a friend, which is obviously Chris Tonto Pronto. And a lady, some random lady just nails it on the sellouts of the retarded right. And we'll talk about that. And then Ro Khanna gets absolutely cooked. Yes, we hit over 400,000. We just did it minutes ago. What's up? My dog chewed my hammer? If you guys want to know how strong my dog is, this is a metal mallet, and she used it as a chew toy and brought it to us because she found it, and she dragged this 10-pound hammer up the stairs in her mouth and brought it to us. This is not a dog you want to screw, because this little cute thing, everyone saw her last night, and it's like when you saw Jaws for the first time when it was up against I think we need a bigger boat. She's huge, man. She's 70 pounds. She's pure muscle, and she is a fur missile for sure. She's ridiculous.
That's awesome.
So anyway, your quick thoughts on this, just to take a minute or two before we dive in on the geopolitical game of Jenga that's taking place between Iran and the United States, and why he's using this type of language. And I love your desert camo USA service. It's a beautiful cap, dude. It's a good cap.
I didn't realize I had that on. I thought I grabbed the right one.
It still looks good though, but that's why I called it out. I love you.
Thank you, brother.
You got it.
You know, it's funny for anybody who's been paying attention to any of the presidents or any negotiator for a very long time. What you get used to hearing is let's just say, for example, you go to prison, right? You, an average suburbanite white male, goes to prison.
Yeah.
Should you continue to talk in that same tone, or do you address all of the prisoners in the common language? And what you have to understand as a negotiator is that there are cultures other than ours that demand respect when you deal with them. Okay. Yeah. If you present yourself with being kind, courteous, being, articulate or unbiased, there's a high probability that during negotiations, you're going to get steamrolled, right? For those cultures like Iran, like Russia is a great example, very prideful people. When you deal with somebody from Russia, Ukraine, you kind of have to amp it up. You have to present yourself as, what's up? You have to give them the same level of strength back. Otherwise, they assume they will steamroll you. So there's a psychological effect that is known. It's called mirroring, right? When you're talking to somebody, if you're going to give them the same energy that they're presenting to you, that's called mirroring. And I think Donald Trump does a really great job of that, while still trying to maintain some level of open communication.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Iran, if Iran is saying death to America, we're going to nuke America in their in their parliament, in their sessions, and they're burning American flags. And we sit here and say, well, we like the Iranian people and we're going to find diplomatic reasons. You know what they're going to say is, well, we can do those things in the United States and there's going to be no repercussions. Donald Trump is speaking their language. And if Iran says we're going to annihilate and rain fire down on the United States, he's going to say, the difference between you and I is I can do it and you can't. So I don't care that he uses language that people don't like. I was talking about this with my pastor, and I prayed on it a little bit because I thought it was important to make sure I was messaging, because I'm starting to challenge people directly and not only just say this is dumb what they're saying, but offer an alternative to their thought process. And Tucker Carlson is somebody who I've kind of put my target on, because I believe that people say, well, why do you give him a platform? First of all, my platform is nothing for Tucker Carlson. 1,000 shows could die like mine, and it would make no impact on Tucker Carlson. But at least I have in my 6-foot shadow that I project, I can say I've owned it. And when I see garbage, I pick it up. That's my area. That's my AOR. And if I condone it and allow it to take place, well, that means I accept it. And I just don't, and I won't. Do you think he's going to drop the load or give them the 2 weeks they're asking for? I think we hit the
answer, wasn't
it? I think it was. I think we hit the targets last night very heavy. Israel hit the targets very heavy. I think it would be foolish for him to attack bridges right now and attack power. I think it's a mistake. I really do. And if you start attacking the people, then you're going to get into a ground war, and you're going to create guerrilla insurgencies. And then you've got Vietnam and Afghanistan rolled into one. And when I say Afghanistan from the terrain and Vietnam with the amount of people who Iran can bring to the fight that Afghanistan couldn't. They have regular army, and they've got a lot of them, and they've got over 1 million troops, and they're a very large country. And if we had to put boots on the ground, I don't think the United States wins. The United States will have a Korea. It'll be a draw. And we will lose hundreds of thousands. It's go ahead, but I want your opinion too on this. Is that when you start hitting civilian infrastructure, you start creating a anti-American sentiment in Iran, and that is the one thing we have going for us right now: is their people love us. Most of their people love us, and we want to try to keep that good nature moving towards that, because we outnumber them. The moment that we start taking out water and bridges and power during some of the most craziest months to come in heat and cold, you're going to create an insurgency and a dissidence towards U.S. and Western civilization that they will quickly forget, and have them repudiate Western ethics that a lot of them remember, and then start embracing radicalism. And that's what we do not want to do. Go ahead.
I think you're spot on. So there's two basic arguments that were presented there. A little bit to unpack, but not much. When we're talking about civilian targets, 9 times out of 10, what the military, 100% of the time, I'm going to take that back. 100% of the time, when we're talking about somebody who uses civilian targets as in those terms, what they really mean to say are dual use targets. So we don't just go and hit any old bagel shop. That's not what the United States is going to do. What they're going to do is they're going to pull the intelligence people, right? And the commanders will do this and say, hey, give us a list of these sets of targets, these types of targets that are, say, organized in a particular way. I have to be careful with my language. When you do that, right, then those IC people, right, are going to give that off to a set of targeteers. Those targeteers will then talk to weaponeers who will say, okay, for this list of targets, right, it's best to come in from this angle, and we're going to use this type of warhead, and we expect you to get this type of result, right? And then it goes off to the BDA folks. Now, I say that because the mainstream media just wants you to believe, oh, it's just a standard bridge that all civilians are on. No, this would have to be a bridge that both the military and civilians use, and that's how we come up with the term dual use. Anything that is used by the military, i.e., power grid, water, bridges, infrastructure, that kind of thing, that the military uses, that's fair game, and that's been fair game ever since World War II.
Yep.
We stopped doing the thing against bagel shops after the fire bombings in Japan, right? We don't do that anymore. Now,
well, and Dresden, and Dresden, but
Dresden.
And Dresden.
Yeah.
just
now that's one. Now to confirm Matt's point is that a land invasion would be bad. What most people don't realize is that the number of or the length of coastline in Iran that we would have to invade is roughly the same amount of coastline that would stretch from New York all the way down to Florida. And if you sent every military peep in a land invasion to occupy that coastline, there will be gaps. There's just not enough American troops, save some level of equipment, right? But there's not enough American troops that could monitor that and with 100% accuracy say these ships can get through without any issues. There's just going to be gaps. That's just the way it is. And so I think any discussion of a boots on the ground type invasion is a losing prospect. It just would not turn out favorably.
Yep. And incremental troop deployment for non-extensive periods of time is a possibility, but Karg Island is one of the dumbest things. You either flatten it, but you don't take it. You kill it. You essentially cut it off. And you can do that with putting 2 subs. Well, you only need 1. Put 1 sub and put 2 or 3 A-10s on sortie. And you don't even need that. Just put yourself an F-30. F-35 is a lot more expensive. You can put Apaches on there. It doesn't matter. Routine
One
flights.
Sortie, you do it.
One sortie, and every time you see, and you randomly do it on the hour, you do increments of 15 and you random it. And they try to move anything from point A to point B, you blow the living bejesus out of it. And you essentially make that island untouchable. That's what you do. You don't occupy it. And I don't think the United States, in any way, shape, or form, has an intention to hold Karg. If you do, it's actually Kirk Island. I don't know why people call it Karg, but it doesn't matter. Same reason Bahrain and Bahrain are 2 different things, and we're Americans. But Karg, or Kark, it's an insurmountable position to hold, as much as holding Okinawa on the mainland Japan would be. You do not have the resources, you do not have the supply, and logistically it's a nightmare. And it's not that it can't be done. I mean, you could put 100,000 Marines on that thing. That's fine. And you're going to lose people every night because that's just the way this is.
It's a losing political proposition as well.
Sure. Sure.
If when you start to threaten a country's, if we're trying to buddy up with the people of Iran, not the Iranian government, but the citizens of Iran, then technically that's their oil. So to go in with the amount of bluster and say, oh, well, it's ours now. Now we've become the thing that we hate. Yeah.
Karen, this is not propaganda. I hope you guys like the new chat window because this allows people to see the question we're going to address, which is great. So they've put the civilians on the bridge, and we're going to cover that with a video. Robert says no donation button in Facebook. I don't know what that means. I don't think we've ever had a donate. You guys, this is so simple. It's the easiest thing in the world. Just open up your browser and type in thedumbshow.com/donate. And our donation page is right there for you. I built the whole thing for you from top to bottom. Listen, here's the thing I'll say. I'm just going to move on. Is there's only so much you can do from a kinetic standpoint from the air. Everyone just thinks that bombs kill it. Well, that's not true. Okay, if bombs killed everybody, then the English would be speaking German. because the English had more bombs dropped on England than just about anywhere else on the planet, as far as a numerical value versus explosive ordnance size. I mean, Japan obviously has had the most, but you have to understand there is a way to resist those air assaults, and these countries understand, after 30 years of propagating war in the Middle East, we know what we're doing. So do they. And it is great to hit infrastructure. It's great to hit command and control. It's great to hit integrated air defense systems or any defensive posturing that they may have. But at some point, you got to have mechanized infantry. You've got to have long-range artillery. You've got to have forward operating bases. You've got to have QRF spin-ups and resupply for your special forces teams. You've got to have ISR in the area. You've got to have intelligence apparatuses. That means you've got to go ahead and deploy troops at a magnitude that is a 3-to-1 ratio per combatants for support. It's a different world, folks. So when everyone's like, he should just finish it, the only way he can finish it is to drop a nuke on Iran. And that's not going to happen. No. So the next step is boots on the ground in a putting 250,000 people in country. And if you want to do that, then I've got a few things to say to you, and it starts with 3 different words: Vietnam, Afghanistan, and then Afghanistan. And I say it twice because we didn't learn our lesson from Russia and then decided to go ahead and do it for the exact same amount and learned our lesson, is that you cannot stop insurgents. The Philippines were never taken because of insurgencies. MacArthur went in there and he trained them how to do guerrilla warfare. A grandmother wielding a broom on a hill can stop 100 invading armies. That is just the truth, folks. And if you watch 300, even though it is a completely fictitious movie that never took place, it is a semblance of military history, where the Spartans did hold insurmountable Persian forces numbering in the 10,000 with 300 men. And although it was a little excessive, there is some truth to that story. So the best way to describe it is, a man defending his home is stronger than 1,000 men trying to take it. And this is no different in Iran than it would be here in the United States. They don't have a weapon behind every grain of sand, but it's enough to make a really hard time for the United States, especially if we lose the sentiment of the people. Okay?
Absolutely.
Okay. Good day from Australia, Dingo says.
Good day, mate.
Countries use civilians to protect targets. Just Luke, the so-called school last month, they make soft targets. Not countries, because it's actually against, not that this matters much, but it is against Geneva Convention, and it is considered a war crime to use civilians around military targets. Now, that with that and $4.25, you can get yourself a decent cup of coffee at Starbucks. It doesn't mean shit. People break the Geneva Convention all the time, but it is a war crime to put civilians. We'll talk about that. But let's get into the show. We got a busy one. I appreciate you guys watching the show last night. All the comments were so great. Thank you guys. You know, listen, some people are just like, you know, Matt, I haven't seen that version of you, and you there is a version of me, and I'm getting to it, which is who I am. And I've realized that this job and what we do is not performative. I used to think it had to be. I always had to be right, or had to be the funniest, or had to be the smartest guy in the room. And now I'm just a person who's like, listen, if I have an opinion, I'm going to give it to you based upon the facts, and otherwise I'm probably going to shut up if I don't have one. So I have no ill regard towards the older millennial. He decided to leave in the conversation, and that's fine. And, you know, whatever. We're moving on, folks. Matt, I'm getting really worried about what's happening in Iran. Well, you shouldn't be. So
Relax.
I don't think, relax.
Deep
How
breath.
about
Breathe
50?
with me. Goose Fraba.
A goose fraba. How about 500,000 M16A2 we have in storage given to the locals that are willing to fight? The problem is we did, and the Kurds took them. Oh, shit. Was I supposed to say that?
I don't know.
Fuck. I think it's okay to... Yeah, it's okay to say that. Yes. CIA did drop off arms to civilians in Iran, and the Kurds were supposed to deliver them, and the Kurds kept them themselves, which is why the Kurds didn't go in. The Kurds... We have treated the Kurds like shit on multiple occasions, and Donald Trump didn't treat the Kurds very well in Syria. So It seems like the Kurds basically said, sure, we'll go in for you. Give us all the guns and we'll give them to the people. And then they took them themselves. This is to be expected. The Kurds are sick of being shed on. They need their own country. It would have been nice for them to go ahead and do something because I think Donald Trump would have helped them. But southern Iran belongs to them. And, I would love to see nothing more than Iran break up into 3 very small parts, centralized Tehran, and then a northern and a southern, Kurdish. And I don't know what I would want in the north. I really don't care. But I would like to see a divided Iran. That would be a good thing. But anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
Matt, are you familiar with the scripture on Gideon and the Midianite? Is it Midianite? Midianite. No, I am not. But I will be now.
I'll look into it too.
The link, Patricia, who put? What do you mean? The link is by the comment. Looks like part of a chain link. He took his page down. Who did? Okay, Thomas, that's public. Okay, I didn't know if it was public or not. I hadn't heard if it was public. So I just wanted to make sure. No, it's not the first time with the Kurds. Matt and Leroy explain all this Iran with 99. Matt and Leroy explain all this with Iran with 99.9% accuracy. That's
well, thank you.
I don't know where we're not getting 100, but okay. No, just kidding. We already know about the Kurds taking the guns. Okay, good. You guys got me keeping it up. Matt, do you think we will all have to have boots on the ground in Iran? No, I don't. No, I listen.
No.
We were right here in 2019 with Iran literally moving to civil war. And then we took our eye off the ball with COVID. But the sanctions worked. The trick is that you've got to keep the straits open, and you've got to stop them from funding their proxies. And when I say that we have financially strapped them to a point where they're not going to be looking to expand their asymmetric warfare past their border for a while, that's going to be like 5 years at least. You guys, they have just lost billions, hundreds of billions of dollars in military equipment. They are going to be focusing on the home front for a while. So we've achieved that. Remember, just because we didn't achieve success as okay, we're done, here's our country, that's not what success looks like. Success is do not build a nuke, cause as much infrastructure damage as you can to their military and their E4, so they have to rebuild it and focus on rebuilding their defensive systems and their infrastructure more than their offensive capabilities. And you've given yourself almost a decade right here of rebuilding that they're going to have to focus on. Now, you apply economic sanctions on that and you constrict them, they are still going to move forward with that at a slower pace, but then they're going to starve their people, and that's when you get a chance for an uprising. So this is a long game, but putting boots on the ground, right. No, I don't think it's necessary. I don't. And I would advise against it. If I was there sitting there and I was in the situation room and Donald Trump listened to me, which he wouldn't listen to Leroy, but if he did, you have two intel guys that would say don't.
Yeah.
Don't put boots on the ground. No, you train their special forces.
And I had hinted multiple times in the past on this show publicly that, taking care of Karg Island would be the final nail in the coffin when dealing with Iran. I've said that multiple times. And yes, that is true. But I would highly advise against it. It is not something that I would support. I would say we should take every measure short of that.
Elizabeth Hall says, do you believe this was what was predicted over 2,000 years ago in Scripture, or do you think this is a standalone, even though it seems to be lining up? First of all, when people ask me about biblical history and if I've read something, it's not that I haven't skimmed it, or it isn't that I haven't explored it, But when someone asks me if I've read it, it means have you taken it in, disseminated it, or do you have an opinion on it? So that's my answer to your question, not to you, Elizabeth, but to the previous about Gideon. Elizabeth, there's two things that I can tell you. One is that if it is, you have no control over it, and it's preordained, and get right with your soul and God. And if you're there, then what are you worried about?
Right.
Because if you believe in this from a biblical perspective, from end of days and Armageddon, then that means Jesus is coming down, God is coming down to earth, and you need to get right with God. And if you're already there, then you have nothing to worry about. And what are you fearing? So that's the answer to your question from a biblical sense. From a historical sense, is this? I don't know. I'm not a prognosticator. That story couldn't possibly not be real. I also have to take that into account. Because if I'm a person who doesn't believe, I might have to say, you know what, I don't believe in that story because I don't have faith. So I don't know. I can't answer your question. What I can say is that Israel, protecting Israel when the rest of the world attacks Israel and the United States no longer stands with Israel, that is when you can start literally breaking out your Bible and packing your bag. That's when you can do that, according to Scripture. Go ahead, Leroy.
Think about what Matt just said there. If you are right with God, right, then you have nothing to worry about. You have nothing to fear. Go ahead and basically let the chips fall where they may, right?
Right.
Now, imagine an entire country in opposition who have that same level of commitment.
Yeah.
Who have that, I am good with God and I'm willing to die to make my political point. That is largely what Islam is. Yeah, that should put a little bit of a tweak in everyone's, that should make everyone have that moment of pause to go, all right, look, the extremists, right?
Yeah,
they are fanatical, and they are willing to die for that point. And
real quick,
that's terrifying.
Real quick, Matt Holliday says, Matt, editor's choice on Rumble is cooking. Facebook ticker is going viral. It is. Facebook's been cooking. But we're editor's choice on Rumble, which is really exciting, folks. The last time we did this, we got 40,000 views in 2 hours. And Rumble, I've reached out to them, and I've built a relationship. And I said, guys, you're killing me. What can I do? I can't grow. Help me out. And they have decided, without me asking for that, put us on editor's choice. And that's really cool because you're highlighted as a show to watch. So if you have not followed us, this is really a gift for us. So if you're on Rumble, and I think it's follow or whatever, you don't have to subscribe. I don't want your money. I just want you to continue to watch our content. We're live 7 p.m. So welcome to our Rumble people. It's good to see you. Listen, great conversation to start off the show. We have a whole bunch going on. Matt, Jesus returns as a lion, not as a lamb. I'm aware. That's why I said pack your suitcase and get right with God, because, we understand. Let's move. We've got a busy show to do. I want to show you guys something that was kind of cool. Somebody mentioned it, and I figured I would go ahead and put this in here real quick. If I can find it. Yes, I can. That's Rumble. Rumble's doing well. Yeah, Olivia and I, you guys mentioned it.
Did you
so
fart?
I figured
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, it's Olivia's farting, it looks like. But she's standing behind me, so I guess that's possible. I think it's
right before it clicked over.
I think it's pro chat or main stereo. If there's echo, let me know.
One more. Hey, there it is. 400,000.
Hot damn.
Amazing. 400,000 followers, folks. Thanks, Facebook. See you guys tonight at 7.
Thanks,
Say bye.
honeys.
Bye.
There it is, 400,000. We are happy and proud. This is something I saw, which is kind of cool. This was in my church, and on Easter, I love this. And my pastor put this up in the window, and it says, Jesus paid it all. Sin paid, shame paid, pain paid, past mistakes paid, rejection and loneliness paid, slavery to sin paid, spiritual death paid, amount due $0 to everybody. So tolls are already paid, folks. Something to think about. The View thinks that we're stupid. Here it is. Let's watch it.
Also, there's like magical thinking that all of a sudden the gas prices, which are $10 in California in some parts, a gallon.
Do we have audio? Everyone's good? Can you hear that, Leroy?
Yeah, I can hear it.
No echo, anybody? Everybody good? We're solid? All right.
And the stock market is in the toilet. He thinks this is magically going to come back. Does he really think we're that stupid?
Yes.
Yeah.
He does.
Yeah, but I'm not one of the poorly educated, okay? Those are the ones he thinks he can get to. And those people are the ones who are going to turn on him.
Well, the crazy thing is, even the poorly educated recognize when they're being grifted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Poorly, just because you don't have book learning doesn't mean you're not
correct.
smart enough to know when somebody's bamboozling you.
Yeah. Well, they're
feeling it now.
They're feeling it themselves at the pump.
They're feeling it now. His approval rating is down 30 to 35%, which is at an all-time low. And I didn't gain any
What is it,
clarity.
35?
35%. Yeah. And, numbers matter to him.
All right, Leroy. Why don't you take us out on as the estrogen turns? Because I don't have any I don't have any stamina for them tonight.
There's a lot there to break down, but basically, I am call it suspect of half of the numbers that they present as fact. For one, two, I love the moral posturing. There's a lot there to break down, but basically, I am.
Go ahead, buddy. Sorry.
You're all right. The mental gymnastics that it takes to split the population and say, look, we are the better educated, better people, and all of the Trump supporters are mouth breathing, knuckle dragging Neanderthals. Basically, that's what they were alluding to. You ain't got none one for book learning and all. And so while you're busy trying to project that image, just try to remember that if you don't have any trust in Donald Trump, or if you don't have any trust in the federal government, then why in the hell would you ever continue to vote Democrat that chooses and very openly to try to inflate the size of the government and to assert more power, more regulation, more laws, more hefty fines? They want to do that to you. So this is the same government that you're telling us not to trust, but you want more of it?
Right.
Poorly educated.
Uh-oh, retard alert. Retard alert, class.
They need to find husbands. I think they all have that in common. Aren't they all divorced, or have they eaten and taken the heads off of their lovers?
I don't know. I'm going to send Joy Behar a complimentary Amazon shipment of AA batteries.
Yeah. Well, they use lithium ion now, bro. So she won't chip her teeth. Yeah. She doesn't need a wood chipper. But I was thinking the same exact thing, like the gilded rocket, or the pink flamingo, or
so the flower one,
the
right?
vibing, right?
the rose, I think they call it.
The vibing viola, whatever it is.
Yeah, the Clam Rattler 2000.
Yeah. Yeah, gas is expensive. Chaos says I paid $3.79 for gas. Yeah, it's gonna go up. That's what happens. But that's what they're counting on. And honestly, you know what Donald Trump isn't doing? He's not blaming Vladimir Putin. He's not ducking it. Yeah, he's not blaming Putin. He's not blaming Ukraine. You know what he's saying? Yeah, it's the price of ensuring that Iran doesn't have a nuke, and it's going to get expensive, and that's just the truth. It's going to be pricey, but it has gone down here on the East Coast a little bit, which we are a bellwether for the middle and the West, going down a little bit. So hang in there. If it's dropping here first, that's usually a sign that it's going to start dropping everybody. Go ahead.
You know what I was always curious about was that we're a net exporter of oil, all petroleum products. We basically export everything that we don't absorb ourselves, right? And that's not to say that we don't import. We do. But how much from Iran do we import? It's like less than 1%.
Yeah, it's less than 1%. It's like 0.30% of our total oil.
90% of the oil that comes out of Iran goes to China.
Right.
So why is our gas gone up so far? Well, it's a little bit of a complicated scenario, and I've been trying to figure out how to connect point A to point B. But because Iran is a founding member of OPEC, they, to some degree, are allowed to set the prices. So I struggle with why Iran is able to set the prices for a Texan who's drilling on his own land. I see a hand up. Sir,
yes, it's a globally traded commodity. So therefore, whether it's Texas oil or Iranian oil or Canadian oil or a greasers from the Socha's oil from their hair from the 1950s, it's all traded at the same value, and it's a commodity price, just like gold or anything else. So therefore, if the gold is, or excuse me, if the oil that is impacting 60-70% of China, which it's not, it's about 30% of China, it's about 13 to 14% of Europe, and then Russia, that's going to impact the global pricing. But that's if we buy. The problem is that the U.S. and Texas will base their oil off the globally traded price. So the United States can't get a discount and say, hey, you can give it to me for 70 because we're Americans. And they're like, no, you're going to give it to me for 100 because it's a globally traded oil. And just like wheat or just like barley or just like orange juice or pork bellies, if we want to go to trading places, these things are traded and there's a set price for them, and therefore you must pay that price. That's why.
See? That's why I asked these questions.
Yeah. 12 inches, the other answer. So, folks, what we need are some donations. 95 on Rumble. Do you know how awesome it is to see more people on Rumble than Facebook and YouTube? Because I loathe those platforms. And I'm there, but I would much rather just say, you know what? Let's everyone move to Rumble. Or let's everyone move to a channel. So I want to say thank you to all those people. Just broke 100 on Rumble. Great to see. Do a favor, please follow the Don't Unfriend Me show. Let's move on. And donations are open, folks. They are at thedumbshow.com/donate, and you can donate. Also, chat is wide open. We have a lot of people in chat on Rumble, so say hi. If you have a question, I'll try to get to you. Why do transgenders hate Trump? I don't know. Let's find out. Here's the video.
Well, I hate Trump because, well, he's doing everything. He's making it a crime to be trans. He's deporting people who are like legal immigrants, and he's deporting people who aren't even immigrants. People who were born here. He's just doing all these horrible things, and he doesn't even he's denying climate change exists, and then dirtying the world.
How is he making it a crime to be trans?
I've heard that in an article and from some of my friends, but I don't know if that's true or not. But I wouldn't put it past him.
Are you trans?
No, I am not.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think there's still trans people. I saw a few in the mall.
I am pansexual, though.
Holding a $5 Starbucks with a Dr. Pepper corporate shirt with custom Beats headphones and Ralph Lauren glasses. Yep, anti-capitalist.
And a custom man bag.
Yeah.
That's a full-on man bag.
That's it. Anti-capitalist for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what does that mean?
It means that I don't really mind gender at all. If I like someone, I like them.
How many genders are there?
I don't know a specific number or anything. Yeah.
Like more than 2?
I would say so, yes.
More than 50?
Maybe. I don't know.
All right. Well, be careful because your sign looks like a pro-life sign.
Okay.
Is that what you were hoping for?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. And why not? Why aren't you pro-life?
Well, I feel like abortions are a necessary thing. I mean, if someone isn't ready for a pregnancy, then they should be able to stop it, you know?
Why don't they just not do the thing that gets you pregnant?
Well, maybe they don't have a choice in it. Maybe they were raped.
Sure. But the majority of cases are women who just don't want the baby and, they consented to sex.
Well, in that case, maybe it was like an accident. They didn't mean for it to happen. I mean, they can, people are still just gonna make love and stuff, so.
But it's kind of like playing the lottery. You consent to win, you consent to lose. So if you're gonna consent to sex, I feel like you should consent to the possible.
I've got a comment on this one. This is interesting. Go ahead and say something. Hey, man, why are you on this channel? Say something real quick, please.
Yeah. Am I coming in okay? Is it too loud, too soft? What's going on?
No, you're good. You're just coming in on the wrong channel. You're coming in on the same channel as the videos, which is a little weird because I fixed that. Go ahead and say something again. Is there any echo with Leroy?
Yeah, please let me know, everybody out in internet land, if I'm echoing.
All right.
So comment below.
Here's the rest of the video. Guys, let me know if there's any echo in this, please.
Outcomes of sex, right?
I mean, I guess, but at the same time, if you're not ready for something like that, you shouldn't do it in the first place. I get that. But also, you might not have expected that to happen. So, I mean, people know that there's going to be something that, if people expect that there's going to be something, to stop the pregnancy if it happens, then they should be able to go to that solution.
Do you think that a baby dies in an abortion?
No, not really.
What happens then?
I mean, yeah.
Come here, please.
Yeah, okay.
Looks like Dad got involved.
It just happened. Yeah.
Looks like Dad got involved. It's weird. I'll figure out your audio later.
You're fine.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think she was interested in having a conversation with him, or was she interested in defeating his talking points?
Yes. Yes.
Do you
Very
feel-
few people these days want to have an actual open and honest dialogue type conversation. And when you're talking about people with a microphone in New York on the street who's just willing to walk up to anybody with a sign and start getting into it, that's not really an open conversation, as best I can tell. The one exception that I have seen is not what's her name? It's like Liberty something or other, Caitlin something or other. She's pretty good, but by and large, they're just there to get the sound bites.
She is good, but here's the thing, and I understand people's reaction is to like trash that kid, right? He's pro-abortion. He's out there with the sign. He's a dipshit, and let's face it, he's a dipshit. And he's a nerd, but so was I at one point in my life. And maybe I'm getting soft in my old age, but I would have had a conversation with him because at least he gave you answers that seemed like he was thinking about it. He was at least genuine. He may have just, some of it was talking points and regurgitated nonsense that he had heard, but he did say, I don't know, several times. Like, I don't know, which is his way of saying, I don't know, but I'm going to take a stab at it anyway. And to me, that's courageous. That's somebody who wants to have a conversation. But before he even finished, she was praying and just jumping all over him. I think there's something that is being emulated in the debate bro world that needs to end. And that is that you always have to be right and you have to be cutthroat. You've got to not only make your point, but you've got to smash the other person's overall worth in order to be victorious. And to me, I don't consider that to be accurate. And I'll tell you why. Mm-hmm. This is going to sound like a made up name, but it's not. Proby Melancott. Now, the kid was already born with 1 foot in the hole. Proby Melancott was his name. Can you imagine? Proby. Yes, Mom? How are you today, sweetie? Well, I've got 2 black eyes and my ass hurts. Why? Because someone asked me my name and I said Proby Melancott and they proceeded to beat the living snot out of me.
I will say this.
Well, hold on a second. There's a story here. You gotta, you're just busting my. You're busting my.
No, I didn't know that. Yeah,
I'm letting that wash over everybody. So Proby the only thing worse than being named Proby Melancott is having the middle name Ezekiel, which he did. Proby Ezekiel Melancott. Proby was 5'5" and probably weighed 76 pounds in 6th grade. This kid, like if you sprayed him brown and threw flies at him, he could have done a Sally Struthers commercial. I mean, it was bad. This kid looked like a Ethiopian, which is a white Ethiopian, if any of you can remember those commercials. Mm-hmm. He had buck teeth, and he looked like Macaulay Culkin, but skinny. Now, Macaulay Culkin was skinny. That's how skinny Proby was. And I remember I was in PE, and there was nobody that I could take because I was a short, fat little shit. And I got picked on all the time, man. I used to get my ass kicked by the Pham brothers. And they were Viet Cong. They were the Charlie, dude. They were Vietnamese kids. And they all were just little, just zipper heads.
Oh my God.
And I hated them. They used to beat me up, man, and they would pull my shorts up and, horrible little fuckers. And they were all small and skinny, but they were just badass taekwondo and, martial arts ninja stuff. And those guys would bully me like crazy. But I wanted to do the same thing to somebody because I was so sick of getting my ass kicked, and I was gonna rock Proby. I was just gonna beat the shit out of this kid because I knew I could take him. So I just talked all this shit behind him, chirping in line. I got my blue shorts up to my belly button and my white T-shirt with my Adidas because it's in PE, and we're all in line, because our PE coaches were ex-military. One was a Marine, one was Army. So we're all on the ready line, ready to do our push-ups. And I'm just like, Proby, let's go, you little. I fucking hate you, you dipshit. Look like a and just going off on him, and he's not even moving. And I'm just like, oh God, what am I gonna say? I'm gonna talk about his sisters. Talked about his sister. Talked about his mom. He just would not bend. And then I finally went up and I pushed him. I'm like, let's go. And he goes, don't touch me. And I'm like, I haven't heard that type of voice before from this kid. And so I pushed him again. And he turned around and he kicked the living shit out of me. This kid hit me 7 to 8 times before I even knew I was in a fight. He wasn't a good fighter. He was wailing and windmilling like a chick.
Marty McFly,
kicking and scratching and just a buzzsaw, and just kicked the living shit out of me. And out of 100 times, Proby probably would lose that fight. But there was that one time. And he was crying when he was kicking my ass. And he became one of my good friends. And we went to the gym right in front of the coach's office, and we were both in tears, and I'm bloodied to shit. I didn't even get a hit on him. And he turns around and he's like, I'm just tired of it. And I was like, I am too, and I'm sorry. And yeah, it was emotional, whatever. And wound up being my friend. And so the reason I bring this up is out of 100 times that redheaded kid, out of 100 times, maybe 99 of them, he adds nothing to that conversation. And he teaches you absolutely nothing that you haven't already heard before. But you are forgetting that one time that dorky kid might say something profound and might teach you something that you'll never know. At least the fact that maybe if you listen a little bit more, the judgment that you had could have been misplaced, and it doesn't everyone deserve that opportunity. That's a long story. Leroy, your thoughts on that? Proby Ezekiel Melancott.
That's a long name. When I look at debates like that, 9 times out of 10, like the in-your-face street interview, I tend to look at all those debates like a debate that is lacking in actual facts. Say somebody doesn't fully understand the material that is being asked of them, right? Lacking any facts, they're going to rely on their emotions. They're going to fall back on their feelings and say, well, I feel like this or I feel like that. And I've actually heard people say that. I've heard that in conversation when somebody is asked of something of them, right? They will say, I feel like boom, right? Next thing you know, you're like, okay, that's how you feel, right? Which is to say that anyone without a solid depth of facts is going to rely on their feelings to help guide them. Whether or not those feelings may be misplaced or they're just lacking in facts, try to give everyone at least enough credit to say, if evidence to the counter were to come to light, would you be willing to change your position? Would you be willing to change your mind if new evidence was presented? Because I think that's got to be the key. There are people who don't have the ability to learn. They are out there. They are deeply entrenched and borderline brainwashed. And then there are the people that can learn. They just need to be presented with the correct argument. And maybe someday that kid, if he ends up owning a business one day, if certain things fall together in his life in a particular chain of events that puts him in a position where he's like, why am I paying so much in taxes? Why did I have this opinion of this so long ago when I was more idealistic? That kid could change his mind and might.
Yeah. Well, I just listen. All I'm trying to say is that we spend a lot of time talking and not listening to the people that we're asking questions of. And if you go through a 5-minute conversation with someone and you can't concede their point at all.
Right.
This is reminiscent of what happened last night. It's like, okay, you've made your points. I concede to some of these things you've said, and I agree. Now here's my counter to what your thought process is. And then it's like, no, that's not the way it is. Nope. And I'm like, well, you're not here for a conversation. You're here for a monologue. And
right.
To me, I'm good. You know, I'm good. And if I'm that redhead kid, I just look and say, are you even going to listen to anything I just said? You may not agree with it, but you hear me, what I said? Repeat what I said back to me. And you'll be amazed. You will turn that person into a wet noodle. If you just ask them a question, could you just explain what I said back to me before you just jumped down my throat and started spitting out facts about this or that or this or that? So listen, I'm not in the corner of the kid who is holding a sign and he's the fastest sperm and he's already a winner in my eyes. I don't agree with what he's thinking, but my point is that could you imagine how much more you would get if you treated him with a modicum of respect? But the thing is that doesn't get you clicks. So are you in it? Are you in it to learn something? Or are you in it for a click? And this is where I realize that, I mean, the one thing that the older millennial said last night is you can go viral on Twitter. And I'm like, I don't understand why I can't grow on Twitter. And he's like, the easiest way to grow on X, Twitter, is to lie. Make shit up. And that is what is successful. And I'm like, well, no wonder why we can't grow. You know?
Oh, that just makes sense.
Yeah. So I'm like, that's why we don't grow, is because we tell the truth. Last night was exhausting. Chaos Girl says, well, that's not my fault. I'm not gonna cut off on somebody when they're on my show. It was exhausting for me too. If you think I didn't go sleep well, I did. And the point of that is that kid, that redhead kid, he can't tell you why they hate Donald Trump. And the whole point is maybe ask them the question, listen, thanks for the conversation. Do you really hate Donald Trump? I mean, can we slow down and can you just really clue into what I'm saying here? Do you hate him? Would you shoot him if he was here? Would you want him to die? Do you want something bad to happen to him? I mean, is that what you want? No, I don't want that. But okay, now you're going to get to a conversation that's real. But if you're just like, oh yeah, I hate him. And you're like, you really hate him? Really? Is it that's how? I don't hate Obama. I don't hate Biden. I don't even hate Hillary Clinton. I think they should spend some time in prison, but I don't hate them. I don't know. It's just maybe it's my way of thought. Voting so and Carolyn. Oh, go ahead. Well, we'll keep going.
That brings it to that makes me think of a really good question, and this is aimed directly at you. Do you think then that maybe those short form interviews are intending to be more emotional, and that the long form interviews, like what we do, like an hour and a half, 2 hours, that the longer form shows are intended to be maybe a little more intellectual and less emotionally driven? Is that?
I think you can have a 5-minute conversation that's absolutely revolutionary. Can I give you an example? Would you mind? That's a great question, and it sparks something very interesting in me. Today, I showed a video to my pastor, and I'm gonna let me hold the pastor one, but I want to bring this back up. So, Barry today, right? I am making the graphic for the guests coming up, right? Everyone, Scott Lloyd, we saw it at the beginning. And there are little stars, gold stars, when somebody is profound, important. Jessica Lynch, pretty important. That's a big get. Chris Peranto, big get. So we'll put a gold star next to their name, right? Does that make sense? Yep. Older millennial had a gold star. So Barry hasn't been on since I've been doing this graphic. And the graphic looks like this. And he hasn't been on. So I was booking him and I was doing it in Photoshop and I was putting on a gold star on Barry Morgenstein's name because he is a big get on the show. But here's the problem. Does anyone see a problem with that?
Yeah. Does it because he's Jewish?
He's a Jew. Right. I'm putting a gold star on a Jew. My last name is Speer, for God's sakes. And I'm like, I got to call my friend. Because if I don't put it on, I look like an idiot. And if I do put it on, I could look like an idiot. So I'm just going to call my friend and tell him the struggle I'm going. So I'm like, Barry, I call him and he's like, hey, buddy. Always answers for me. Got to love Barry no matter what he's doing.
I love him.
And he's like, hey, man, what's up? I said, Barry, you know I'm an insatiable smartass, right? And he goes, yeah. And I said, well, half of this is smartass and half of this is really concern. And he's like, holy shit, okay, all right, I'm really taking this. And I said, dude, I'm making this graphic for you, and you know how I put gold microphone on for podcasters? And he's like, yeah. And if there's social media influencers of some large status or celebrities or musician, I put a gold star on. He goes, yeah. He goes, am I getting a gold star? I said, yeah, you are. And he's like, it's great. And I said, but dude, I'm struggling. And he's like, okay, what? And I said, bro, I don't want to put a gold star on your name without your permission. And he's like, what? And I said, and he's like, oh. And I said, yeah, bro. And he's like, oh, I don't care. He's like, yeah, that's, whatever. That's good. And I said, so he's like, that's great. Thanks for calling. I appreciate it. Love you guys. It's all her baptism. Yeah. Saw the show last night. Show was great. Talk to you soon. Bye. And then he texts me and he says, as I'm sitting down to eat, he texts, and this is a perfect example of this. He texts me this, and it says, can I get a gold star of David? And I said that, and I said, that's what I said when we sat down. Ha ha ha, done. And because I said to Olivia, I said, you know what? I'm going to give him a gold star of David instead. So he asked me, so I'm like, all right. So I make this.
I love him.
And I send it to him. I send him him looking through the Star of David. And I go, subtle, right? And he goes, LOL, like, this is hilarious.
Oh my God.
And then we leave it at that. Like, he knows I'm going to put the gold star where it's supposed to go. But like 20 minutes later, I go, you know what? I'm struggling with it. I fixed it. Just went with it. And I said, screw it. And he's like, huh? And so I did this.
Oh my God. It looks like he was in Men in Tights.
That's right. Right?
You put the thing in here and fit.
Yeah. Right. And then he goes, oh God, looks good. And I go, oh Yahweh, to be exact. And he goes, exactly.
Oh God.
5-minute conversation. 5-minute conversation that was profound and changed my day and made me smile and laugh and enjoy it. And then I did a video that I'm going to show you here in just 1 second. And I reached out to my pastor and I said, Pastor, I'm struggling. Am I messaging this correctly? And he wrote me this long dissertation of Tucker Carlson's point, of Donald Trump's point of view, and didn't even address me. And I'm like, well, I'm not asking for you to tell. I already know that Tucker, but you know what? He wanted to frame it to make sure I was understanding. And then he came in and he critiqued my viewpoint. And that was a 5-minute conversation. It was absolutely transformational. So to answer your question, I don't think it's the matter of time. I think it's the matter of content and how quickly you get to your authentic selves. Because there's times with you, I will have a 5-minute conversation with you and it's profound and it's amazing and I need it. And so, like before our show, I didn't want you to talk and I wanted to do that and you let me. And to me, you made a huge impact on me. And as long as you know that, then it should have made an impact on you. And the next time you need it, vice versa, whatever. So 5 minutes or 5 days, conversations can be massively impactful if we get to our authentic selves as fast as possible. That's my answer.
I like that. That's a great point. And it takes a little bit to go from, well, if we're talking about the difference between emotional and intellectual arguments and either long or short form type conversations, it's nice to hear that people can have, that I can be proven wrong and me accept it. This is exactly what we were talking about. Am I willing to change my mindset based off of new evidence? And that perfect example.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome. All right. So a question comes out of the audience. This is Carolyn Levitt and Erica Kirk. And a guy, of course, who is planted opposition goes in there and asks a question. So this is a direct relation to the video we just saw, and I want you to see how Carolyn Levitt handles it. And to me, I found this to be like my aspirational point of being. Is this is how I want to handle conversations, and I tried to do that last night, and this is very similar to that. Watch this.
The Heritage Foundation, which is a conservative database, by the way, there have only been a few hundred cases of voter fraud since 1982 out of hundreds of millions of votes. Additionally, according to the Brennan Institute of Justice, there are 21.8 million Americans who do not have easy access to proofs of citizenship. So my question to you is it worth it to risk millions of Americans from voting in order to prevent a few hundred cases of voter fraud?
First of all, thank you for the question. No need to boo. It's an honest question. I'm happy to give you an honest answer. First of all, I have not seen the data you provided, so I'd like to go check it myself and make sure that it's actually accurate in the way that you're citing it. And there is certainly much more, I believe, voter fraud in this country, and I'm sure the statistics back it up, than what you cited with one survey. And why are you okay with any voter fraud in the United States of America? We are the greatest country on the face of the earth, and we should have the safest and most secure elections of any country on earth. And it is transparent. And transparent. And it is absolutely absurd that voter ID is not the land of the law in this country already. And 89%, 80 to 90%, based on which poll you look at, of Americans in this country support bringing a piece of identification.
Woo! I was getting a little worried, folks. I was like, I'm not going to say anything. Matt and Leroy, thanks for answering questions that concern me. You guys never disappoint. We love you, Kev, and we'll continue to do it.
Thank you.
But I was getting a little worried. I didn't say anything on purpose. I was like, my God, what is going on here? Thank you so much. Here's the rest.
To the polls when you cast a ballot in an American election.
I don't have much to add to this. I just want to just scratch it, and then I'm going to give it right to Leroy here. In that conversation, she crushed it, right? A little presumptuous, but she crushed it. I mean, she hammered him in a way that was, but she set him up for it, right? Like, listen, don't boo him. It was an articulate question. I'm going to answer it. I love that. I love that when if you can say something positive about when someone is trying to set you up, it disarms them. It takes control of the argument, and it makes them look petty and small. And I'm good with that. There's times where people come in and they've got their guns loaded, and you make them blow their own foot off. Well, you just won in that aspect. But here's the other thing, is you could also take it another way and say, I really appreciate you looking up that one statistic from Heritage Foundation, which only found, a tens of handful of voter fraud. Can you please tell me, do you believe that that's the amount of voter fraud in the United States? Daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually? What's your time frame? And then that person was like, well, I don't know. I said, well, wait a second, how do you not know that? Well, because there are no studies on election fraud in the United States. There are no determinable studies of ballot harvesting or if redistricting has truly impacted, because these things are not conducted. There are no decisive investigations that have taken place, because the assumption is there is no fraud, not that it's unprovable. So this is very similar to theoretical physics or the laws of thermodynamics or gravity. If untested, they don't exist, right? Well, no, they do exist. They're objectively true. And they exist whether you believe in them or not. But if you want to validate them, if you want to quantify and qualify the collective data, you must test the data to see statistically if it is happening or not. And once you do that, by using a scientific method of discovery, you will subjectively and objectively know the truth, right? I mean, that's what we're trying for. We want to be able to, with our own brains, quantify and qualify the truth and objectively know that it's real, which means that if all of a sudden we die, theoretical physics will stay the same unless proven otherwise, and statistical data or numerical data will stay the same whether we believe it or not. So the whole crux of the argument isn't that you only found 100. The crux of the argument is, how could you possibly only find 100 if we statistically know that is an improbability just by basically looking at it? Common sense will tell us that. So we have to actually have investigations and study the actual truth to discern whether there is election fraud that actually overturns at a smaller city, municipality, township, or a state, or possibly a federal election. Because we simply don't track it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. That's another side of the argument. Leroy, and I said that was going to be short, and it wasn't. I'm sorry. Leroy, go.
You're fine. I tend to think of this a lot like driver's licenses. Not driver's licenses with the intent to go and drive. I am referring to the classic 1970s and 80s cases of people getting driver's licenses that was extremely simplistic back in the day. They were nothing more than laminated cards with the intended purpose of going to a bar. When you are trying to check for eligibility of something, you want to partake in the American voter system, right? Should we, one of the requirements of which is to be a citizen. All right, great. Now, should we verify eligibility? And how is that any different than verifying the eligibility of somebody at a bar? Let's just check to make sure they're 21. Now, way back in the day, if we were going to verify that on nothing more than laminated cards, it was very simple to pull the wool over the sheep's eyes, so to speak, right? But as systems become a little more complicated, the next thing you know, we're dealing with little holograms. You know, the IDs are much more elaborate. They're much harder to fake. They're much harder to cheat the system with. And when we're talking about eligibility, I think that that's a fair thing, right? I can't think of anybody who would say, oh yeah, we want underage drinkers at the bar. Nope. And it's probably a similar amount too. Right. It's probably a very similar amount of people who get busted for using false IDs at bars than there is of cases of voter fraud. It's probably not that much different, but that's not the point. You're just checking for eligibility, because for one thing you would never do is just assume that everyone who goes to the bar is eligible to drink.
It's amazing that Democrats can't seem to understand why we want voter ID, but they wanted ID to prove that whether you had COVID or not.
Right. Papers, please. Yeah.
How can you, for something as infinitesimal as the cold, we literally had to upend our entire lives and change tribal structure of interactions in the United States, from education to consuming food to even going and getting a checkup. You wanted to upend all of that, but what could be a monumental change? Can you imagine if Kamala Harris was in office right now with Iran? Could you imagine with Venezuela? Can you imagine with Mexico? Could you imagine with Cuba? Could you imagine with Russia and Ukraine? Folks, the fact that we even remotely had even a scintilla of a chance to have Kamala Harris in office should tell you why elections are so important. Now, some people are saying, well, look at Trump. This is, you shouldn't have Trump because he's going to cause World War III. Folks, if you believe that President Donald Trump is going to cause World War III when 90% of the Arab countries are standing with us, that Europe isn't getting involved, but they're not interdicting, that Russia and China aren't even getting involved, who exactly do you expect to go to war?
Right.
Everybody hates Iran. Everybody hates Iran. They're about as popular as Hamas. And you notice how many Arabic countries lined up to take those fucking people? Sorry. First one tonight. My bad. I've been doing really good, too. My pastor says it's okay to cuss. He isn't going to curb people to cuss. It's not what it's about. Taking the Lord's name in vain or blasphemy are different than cussing. Every time I apologize and go, dude, I can be better. He looks at me like, you know, I was a pilot in the Navy, right? Yeah, I know, but, you know, you get weird around holy men. And it's not because of what happened when I was younger.
That's funny. I will say this. Whenever I've heard the argument, and I've heard plenty of it, Matt and I were talking about this just prior to going on the show, where it just seems like the left has just exploded with some level of Trump is going to lead us into World War III. It says we shouldn't be in Iran. It is complete support to some degree for the Iranian regime, which boggles my mind. And I stopped to think about, all right, well, work that problem backwards for me. Maureen Flood donated $20, says, let's keep the lights on. Thank you, Maureen.
Let's do that.
Yes, please. Let's keep the lights on.
Please.
But when we start to look at that argument and work it backwards, right? I have found that applying a leftist lens to all arguments means that all you have to do is look for the negative in any event. Let's say, for example, that we did nothing and that Iran gained possession of a tactical nuclear weapon, parked it in Israel, and boom, everything was gone, right? The very first reaction is, why didn't Trump do something?
That's right.
It would be, it's Trump's fault. He didn't do anything when he had the chance.
Correct.
He is a lame duck, blah, 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 and fill in the expletives from there.
Correct.
So it doesn't matter if he had done nothing or if he had done everything, and right up to and including potentially boots on ground. Please don't let that actually happen. You see what I'm saying? The man can literally get nothing right from the leftist perspective.
So this is a perfect example with a pilot. This was Donald Trump's defining moment of this presidency. I think you recover a lot here. Is, you know, the left's comments are, oh, well, you know, that we spent $200 million. I can't believe this. We had hundreds of planes and hundreds of soldiers and 200 planes being used. And this is ridiculous. So if he wouldn't, you're a Carter. If he would, that's the question mark. So Donald Trump did not, he was a polar opposite of Carter, Obama, and Biden. Even Bill Clinton is not in that equation, because Bill Clinton was very, very effective at geopolitics. Surprisingly enough, he was excellent at it. I think Bill Clinton was a great president. A lot of people give me, except for the military, except what he did with the military and downsizing the military and not funding the military and cutting the budget. The only reason he had a surplus was because of what he did with the defense budget. But I got no problem with Bill Clinton's policies. I really don't. And I have a serious problem with Carter. I have a serious problem with Obama, a serious problem with Biden. And Donald Trump could have went down that path of leaving our soldiers behind. And airmen, here's the thing. And this is something you guys need to understand. In his first term in office, he had a SEAL team that got wiped out. A squad got wiped out of team members. 6 SEALs died under Donald Trump. And it was for a very similar mission that you guys can look this up and see. And I think Donald Trump learned the hard lesson very, very quickly, that when you use special forces in an overwhelming force, right? Don't use a squad when you can use a battalion. And I think he understands that. But if you go and look up that history, in his first days of office, this is what happened. Mel Lowe, 103.48. Thank you, Mel. We love you, sweetie.
Thank you,
One
Mel.
of the only platforms that challenges the social media. Keep up the great work. We will. We love you. So I want people to think about that. It doesn't matter what he would have done. If he would have stood on his hands and let that soldier, you know what they would have said? Trump abandons America and Iran. Trump is the new Jimmy Carter. This would have been, even though Democrats would pretend that Jimmy Carter wasn't their president, this is what they do. So it's a good point. Here is a video about getting older. Just a little break. No comment needed. This is just funny. We got to move on to some cool stuff. But this is one just to add some smiles. Patricia Luza donated $10. Love the show, and we love you. Halfway to goal, folks. Thank you, Patricia. Right here. Leroy, is that breaking up?
I see your lips moving.
Is that breaking up? Okay.
Badly. Yeah.
This video, there's something wrong with it. There's something wrong with the encoding. I'm going to try it one more time. And if it doesn't show up, this gave us fits last night. You guys let me know.
Can you guys believe that we're fucking old now? Dude,
oh, that's better.
Is that better? Okay. Sorry, guys. That's what happened last night. And that's the encoding. That video was copy and pasted. So no problem. I'm fixing it right now. Here we go. Sorry about that, y'all.
I used to order vodka, Red Bull, Jägermeister, gasoline, and deer piss in a glass and drink 13 of them. Next day, head to brunch. Liver's like, is that all you got? Get a mimosa. The things that take you down now are just pathetic. I recently slept on a pull-out couch. I almost checked into the emergency room the next day. Swear to God, I felt like somebody was stabbing me in the shoulder all day long. Got to stretch now. Not to work out, just to exist. I make noises getting up, bending down. You should hear it in the house. It sounds like an X-rated movie in there. My wife will drop something. She's like, can you get that? I'm like, sure thing, hun. We used to go out at 10 p.m. That I actually cannot believe. Beginning the night at 10 p.m. Now, if I hear or see anybody out past 10 p.m., I automatically assume they're a criminal. Entire personality changes. In my 20s, the goal was blackout, meet strangers, wake up somewhere new. Now my goal is the couch. That's all I think about is the couch. Injuries are different. In your 20s, you got injured doing something cool. Yeah, I tore up my shoulder snowboarding. Now it's like, yeah, I got out of the car too fast. I don't know. You ever realize the way you talk about your body now? It's like you sound like a mechanic. And the lower back's really acting up these days. Left knee's pretty worn down. Definitely needs some work. A no carbs after 8, it'll shut the whole system down. The shit I say now, I've become my dad. I say it all. We have food at home. I'm not paying for parking. Did you lock the door? What sucks is, I don't know about you guys, but mentally, I'm still 25. I'll see a group of kids who are in their 20s and I'm like, I could hang. No, you can't, unless you got a whole week of vacation days to take after. I just thought this would happen slowly, you know? But one day I just woke up and I was all excited about a new sponge that my wife put in the sink. Wow, this is firm, doesn't smell. Nice. But also, like, I don't even care anymore, you know? You couldn't pay me to go to a club. Do clubs even exist? Can't imagine the young people today are acting the way we acted. You know what? Good. Everybody go home. Drink water. Go to bed.
Pretty
funny. Oh, my
Yeah.
God. He hits it spot on the head.
Yeah.
Like, the craziest thing happened to me. This is like a couple of weeks ago. I went to go use a toilet in a public restroom, and it was like maybe a half an inch shorter, maybe an inch shorter than what is to. Right?
Wait,
So
wait,
I
wait,
sit
wait, wait,
down,
wait, wait.
and I'm
What
like,
was shorter? Wait, you sat down when you peed, and
toilet,
why was it shorter?
The toilet seat from the floor. It was
Okay,
a
so
shorter one.
You were dropping the deuce, right?
Yeah.
Okay, it made it
Yeah.
sound like you had to pee, and I'm like, why are you sitting down when you pee? I
No.
was just lost. Okay, go ahead, finish your story.
I go to squat down. I'm like, man, this is shorter, right? And then the next day, you'd think I had ran 5 miles. Like my legs were fucking burning. I was like, wait, did I do something? Wait, why am I? No, I took a shit on a short toilet, and it was unbelievable. That guy hits it spot on the head.
It's so true. I think I remember the reason why I started working out and taking care of my body is besides the phone call that I got, but it was I went bowling, and I woke up and I couldn't move. I couldn't.
Felt like you went through an MMA fight, right?
Oh my God! It's like I went 10 rounds with Spinks. I was like from bowling, But then you think about it, throwing a 10-pound ball 100 times, you're going to be sore. I mean, and we learned this with kettlebells. Like kettlebells are a great workout, but people don't
jerked off for a week straight. I get it.
Right, with a bowl. It's incredible. Michael Knowles, probably one of my favorite people. I think Mike's a little ostentatious sometimes. What's wrong with a man sitting while peeing? Everything. That's what's wrong. Everything is wrong, Kimberly Ann. This is a sacred question we do not ask. We just, this is X-Files type stuff. You need to, no.
It's all about geometry, Kimberly.
We don't sit down when we pee. Do you know how difficult it is to sit down with an erection?
Oh, it's impossible.
You have to tuck that thing. And it's really hard, literally. And you've got to basically, you got to tuck and push it underneath, like you're reenacting.
If you do that.
Like you're reenacting Silence of the Lambs, and fuck me. You're tucking that thing back, and it's got to go underneath the lip. Now the problem is, there's a story here. Thomas Austin donated $51.99. Love you, Tommy. Thank you. One time, my wife I left the seat up. Now this is my back surgery. And you have to understand, the way I would sit on the toilet is I would get there and I would hover and I would squat and then I would let go of my body and I'd slam my ass on the toilet because I had no back muscles because after my surgery. Now, an erection is not something that took place after my surgery because I was in critical amounts of pain. But once the pain subsided, little Pepe wanted to come out and play because he's been like put in the corner for a month. And the medication wouldn't let him come out. And he's been, get your ass down in the basement. And then he caught a little sunlight and some air. And he's like, woohoo! I want to go someplace moist,
he woke
warm,
up from his winter slumber. Yeah.
And moist and warm with a humid climate repeatedly is where I want to go. So it's the middle of the night. I wake up with Pepe ready to go, some pep in his step. And I got to go pee. Now, for most men, it's plant your hand on the wall and walk your feet back as far as possible so the angle of your penis naturally points down and then you pee. This is how we have to do it. Every guy knows because you do the push down and it hurts. So you got to take an angle at the toilet like this. So you got to lean your hand on the wall and stretch out. And literally looks like you're it looks like The Fugitive when the one-armed killer, if you were to be arrested by the police or by Tommy Lee Jones, you would look like this. Mm-hmm. You look like Superman. Mm-hmm. You're like doing the gay Heisman. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you're in that, but you can't do that with my back because you're never coming out of that. You're never coming out of it. You're just going to stay there forever. Honey, can you please grab my legs and move them forward because my back won't. So you have to sit down when you pee. So I hover over the toilet and I get about right here and I'm ready to collapse. And I look and I'm like, oh shit, the seat's up. So I reach back as I'm squat and I lean forward and I got to have the seat clear my butt and not clip my balls because that's a whole nother problem.
That's a level of pain we don't want to talk about.
So I have to get on my tiptoes so my balls clear and Pepe is pointed down literally like I've found water with 2 copper bars. It's just bing. And the lid goes, and as it goes, the ring catches Pepe, and I go down. No! And as I fall down, and Pepe is lassoed by the toilet seat, I sit on my dick. Mm. Tell me how I get up. Tell me how to get up. How is it physically possible when you are sitting on your penis screaming in pain as it's caught between the porcelain and the seat and you have to move, and every time you move like oh shit, but you can't move.
Right. It's pinned you down. Your own penis has tethered you to the seat, right?
You have created a genital cuff, folks. This is like the Spanish Inquisition without the fun. Okay? So my comment is just like this at 2 a.m. Olivia! Olivia!
Oh my God.
And then slam in the wall. And she comes in. What in the holy shit? What? I felt like I was in something about Mary. Franks and beans.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah.
How did
bull. Yeah.
Yeah. How did you get the beans above the Franks, boy? I had no. Folks,
we got a bleeder.
This is why you don't sit down when you pee. Okay, you don't sit down when you pee. This is wrong. It's fundamentally anatomically satanic. Okay, so don't ever ask me that question again. Don't you ever ask me that question again. Every man felt my pain. Every man Don't ever sit down when you pee. Ever. That's the last time I ever talked about that. Lieutenant Dan. I think I've had enough about that story.
That was one of the more real moments that I had ever had with my dad at one point. They had come up to visit at one point, and I went to go sit down maybe a little too fast on the couch and I accidentally sat on my own balls. Let me tell you, that hurt. And he just looked at me with the sympathy. It was like the same sympathy that, like, one woman's going to look at another pregnant woman with some level of sympathy for her, genitals. And he just felt it. And he was like, "Oh, I felt that."
Yeah.
And he understood it. Yep.
There's a lot of people like, Matt, that's impossible. I'm doing the math. And yeah, if you've got a 6-inch penis, that's going to be tough. That should answer a lot.
You're measuring that on a yardstick, not a ruler.
I'm just saying, folks. I'm just saying. Okay? I've never been asked for a refund. That's all. Like I may be white, but that ain't true from the waist down. That's all I'm saying. Physically, it would be impossible if I wasn't hung like a baby's arm. Okay? All right. Are we done? Okay, good. Good conversation, folks. Don't sit on your dick. That's the whole. Oh, I hope my pastor was watching that one. Holy moly. Moving on. Here is Michael Knowles on Tyler Robinson. This is all because of your peeing comment. You know that, right? Tyler Robinson. Here's Michael Knowles. Listen to this. It's pretty damn good. Pretty personal info. Whatever. We just do this. Predator Investigation Group is laughing. Shit. Predator Investigation Group. This just sounds like I'm going to get a knock on the door. Michael
Chris
Knowles.
Hansen. Hi, I'm Chris Hansen. Welcome to. Yeah.
I got the date line.
Here comes. What are you doing here?
That's right. Please, Can you please tell me what Ladies Man 357 would be doing talking to a 12-year-old boy? Michael Knowles.
That's right. Here in your text, you were here for more than pizza, sir.
I was just
very clearly.
I had no desire to do anything. I don't know what you're talking about. What did you mean by I want to tongue your ass?
What is tongue punch your?
I want to tongue punch the fart box. What does that mean? I want to wear your ass as a hat. What does that? Yeah. What does that mean? You want to wear his ass as a hat? I don't understand. What do you want to play coal miner's father? I don't understand. Help us.
Rusty trombone. Yeah.
You paint a picture. Who's Dirty Sanchez and what part does he take in this?
Is he illegal?
Does he at least have papers? Oh, we got to clip that. Oh, we got to clip the dick story and that. Okay, Michael Knowles on Tyler Robinson. Here it is.
Which is making the argument, obviously, that Tyler Robinson murdered Charlie Kirk. The prosecution now has some new witnesses. Do you know who they are? They're not people who were just speculating from the government or from the private sector, or from the media, or from... Do you know who's going to testify for the prosecution? Tyler Robinson's parents.
Mm-hmm.
You know who else is going to testify? Tyler Robinson's tranny boyfriend.
Yep.
That's who. That's firmer stuff. Because what we know about the alleged murderer is that his fingerprints were on the murder weapon. We know that he confessed multiple times to murdering Charlie. We know that he had means, motive, and opportunity. We know that he's the kind of person, radical, LGBT, radicalized online by leftism, the kind of person who's been trying to murder not just Charlie Kirk, but many public conservatives for many, many years now. We've all seen it up close. But we also know that he confessed to his parents, allegedly. I have to say allegedly until he's convicted. We know that he confessed to his parents, allegedly, and to the trainee boyfriend, both of whom are going to be called up by the prosecution. That's good news.
Let me say this. If I had $1 million, I'd buy me a suit. If I had $1 million, I would have that set.
John Merrick's remains.
That set is incredible. It's timeless. It's perfect. Yeah. And it's I wanted to go with that rustic feel as well. And I love, this is Victorian. I love the backdrop. There's a guy fishing in the background. It's dystopian. It's beautiful. This is a fantastic set.
Lego
it's all,
Mary and Jesus right there on his desk, an
Yeah.
open box of cigars. I love it.
It's also a $30,000 red lens camera. Just FYI, they don't screw around with crappy cameras. I mean, it's an incredible, and the lighting itself is. Listen, our set is amazing, and we have an incredible set. But if I had $1 million, I would have Michael Knowles shot, and then I would take his set from him. I would do that. Just letting you know, it's not a threat. That and this is why I like Michael Knowles. And yes, I promote other people on my show because he absolutely owns Cuomo. Watch this.
No sound.
What's up? Is it bad?
No sound. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. It's easy fix. I now know what the problem is. Anything that was in last night is coded to shit.
While you are,
what's up? Same thing.
While you were fixing that, I was gonna. Yeah, it's still doing it.
Okay, go ahead. We'll skip it. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say there's a White House just put out a statement, I guess less than an hour ago, that says, on behalf of the Islamic Republic of Iran, I express gratitude and appreciation for my dear brothers, Prime Minister of Pakistan Sharif, and Field Marshal Manur, for their tireless efforts to end the war in the region. In response to the brotherly request of PM Sharif in his tweet, and considering my request by the U.S. for negotiations based on its 15-point proposal, as well as an announcement by POTUS about acceptance to the general framework of Iran's 10-point proposal as basis for negotiations, I hereby declare on behalf of Iran's Supreme National Security Council, if attacks against Iran are halted, our powerful armed forces will cease their defensive operations. For a period of 2 weeks, safe passage through the Straits of Hormuz will be possible via coordinated with Iran's armed forces and with due consideration of technical limitations. Signed, Saeed Abbas. I'm not going to pronounce that, but it's the Minister of Foreign Affairs in Iran.
Now, here's the thing. Is you have to ensure that the IRGC commanders who are all working independently get this message, or this thing is going to blow up tonight. Because this is the problem when you have destroyed their command and control communications. Every IRGC commander, and there are hundreds of them, are propagating their own war, and they're working independently of any structure and any type of governmental body. So this is going to be interesting. We'll see what happens. We'll see if it holds up. Good. All right, folks, we got to keep going. A little frustrating that wasn't working. Let me see if this one works. Billy Bush sits with Sean Hannity in regards to 75 people at ABC. I will get past this, and the newer videos are coming, and there's a whole bunch of stuff I want to get to. So stay with us, folks. We will be out of here by 9:15 tonight. I want to go watch the Avalanche clinch the Western Division and hopefully win the President's Cup trophy tonight. Billy Bush sits on Hannity. Let's see if we can hear this.
Their determination to find something. Yeah. Imagine going around asking that question.
Yes or no?
Yeah.
Leroy.
No, that one's fine.
You just give me a thumbs up, bro. You're my checkpoint. Okay. All right.
Yep.
Who has something? Who has, there's evil in that.
ABC
even if it's somebody that we don't like.
They had a division dedicated with 75 people in it, because I know the guy who ran the division, which was dedicated to basically getting him.
Wow.
And all the big network news did. I understand all of that. Like, what you can do, they have a voice, and different networks have different voices.
So you have Billy Bush openly admitting that there was a 75-man team created to get Trump. That was their goal. It wasn't to create an interagency coverage of an event that was going to be going for a long period of time, like the O.J. Simpson trial or the Ollie North hearings or the Israeli and Hamas war. No, that is and something that happens in the news all the time. And you'll have interagency cooperation, or you will have a chief be in charge of a news team that are specifically designed to research, cover, and present the facts and the ever-changing current events or breaking news of a certain situation. No. This was a team designed to pay, editorialize, dig up garbage, and try to take Trump down in the news agency. You tell me right now that is not state-controlled media and completely antithetical to the provisions of the First Amendment, because to me, that seems like entrapment. It seems criminal. And if this is true, which we know it is because of Russian collusion, then why are these people allowed to have press credentials, and why are they literally not being indicted to the man, woman, and child? Leroy, your thoughts on that?
I think that you've hit it right on the head. We've talked about this for, I can't even tell you how many years now, where one of the hallmarks of classical fascism is state control of the media. And if what he is basically saying is that, hey, look, we had X number of people that we had already pulled together to literally control a narrative and to go after a former sitting president or somebody who was getting ready to campaign. That's a problem.
Yeah.
And I just don't know any other way around it. If you are trying to shape a narrative to the point of active investigations, and we've seen a lot of these headlines that have come to fruition, ever since Trump got in, everything from control of Facebook and Twitter, all the way to raids in Mar-a-Lago. And there has been no person who has been more investigated in history than Donald Trump. And he still voted for him.
Yeah, I know. Crazy, right? I'm going to kick you and then dial back in real quick.
Yeah.
Just dial back in. I'm going to kick you. So I want to do this real quick. As Leroy's calling back in, donations at 205. We're about $95 short. We've got about 12 minutes left, but more to show than that. We've actually got the back end of the back half of the show is actually pretty loaded with some information I want y'all to see. And we're going to be running it pretty rapid fire now once Leroy gets back in here. So let's get Leroy back in. There we go. All right. So here's just something quick. The raid. I'll put it up. You guys notice that I put up the Trump Iranian Rhapsody that's going viral. I'm going to be putting up the Lego Raid movie. Here it is, the Lego Raid movie. This will be the third installment of the Lego movie. This is great. Watch this. You'll love this.
Choppy.
Wait a second. The audio's choppy?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Easy fix. This one I'm showing. I don't care. They've got to get this fixed. You know what? I love Ecamm. I got to stick with them. But there's a conversion process taking place that is just, it's not going well. And it's really causing some issues. They'll get it fixed quick. It's importing right now. It's coding. Let's see if I can get this thing to load. Is it choppy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Let me see if I can get it fixed. I have faith. If it doesn't work, I've got a great idea. Let's see if it works. Nope. Okay. Watch this. See, folks, knowing the system is half the battle, and I know how to beat my system.
Go Joe.
That's right. Let me get this done. This one's too damn good to miss. So I'll just have to import the videos like this. This is an easy fix. See? No choppy. Watch this. You're going to be like, oh, Matt, it's not choppy at all. I know. It's what we do. Ready?
Sound. There's no sound.
What?
There's no sound.
There's no way. Hold on. It's just one of those things, folks. Let's try it now. Here we go. One more time. If this doesn't work, I quit. There
we go.
You got to interrupt me quicker. You can't let me sit here for 20 seconds. If there's no sound. Matt, there's no sound. Yell it out.
That was like
Scream it.
7
Matt,
seconds.
no sound. Matt, no sound. There's none. There's nothing. I can't hear a damn thing. That's all you got to do. Okay? Yell at me. Scream at me. Teach me. Treat me. Slap me. Okay, here we go. Ready? Can you hear that?
I gave you the thumbs up. I don't know why you paused it. I'm going to murder
God is good. He's alive. Go get our boy. One American behind enemy lines. Wounded, surrounded. We bring him home.
Viper 1-2. Hang in there. We're coming. Coming in danger close. Keep your heads down.
Colonel, let's go home.
Package secure. Heading to extract.
Dude, tell me it's not the coolest damn thing you've ever seen now that we finally got it to work.
You know, I have to say that is amazing, and
Yeah.
I wonder to what effect all of these videos, the Lego Bat movie, the Lego Superman, whatever the movies are, when you see something like this that just happened and they've already turned it into a miniaturized Lego movie, I'm like,
yeah, dude.
that
Yeah,
is going to rake in millions for them. That is awesome.
But it's not. It's an AI movie, but you know it's going to rake in money because people are going to want to see it. But this is the technology, folks. I mean, you guys saw the Iranian Rhapsody last night. Donald Trump singing Bohemian Rhapsody about Iran, and it's going freaking global. Over 1 million people have seen it. I'm going to post that tonight. That thing's going to go viral, but I promise you that's going to get us 25, 30,000 followers. That's going to go viral. I find these little things. I have a particular set of skills that make finding viral videos a nightmare for people like you.
Did you see the Liam Neeson thing with the Easter Bunny?
Yeah, it's so good.
It is the funniest.
So good. It's a couple years old, but it's so good.
It really is.
Yeah. Matt, on the irony of Easter, here it is. We're going to go into some Tucker Carlson stuff. If this glitches, we will figure it out.
You are. You're waiting on Easter morning. You'll be living in.
Okay. So all audio is glitching now. So we're going to make a switch. Thank you. We're going to make a switch, and I am going to do, for now at least, do this and just rebuild the cells quickly because I'm good at it, and it'll just take a second. That sucks. Yeah. Listen, I love this company. They take care of me, so I'm not going to bail on them. They will make this better. Ecamm's the greatest thing in the world, and it's very effective. This is a new update, and honestly, it needed to happen because importing videos should be seamless, and it isn't on this platform, and this is the old way, and it sucks, but here it is.
Who do you think you are? You're tweeting out the F word on Easter morning? You'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah. To send out a tweet with the F word on Easter morning promising the murder of civilians and then saying praise be to Allah? without explaining any of it, you are mocking me and every other Christian because we're Christians. We can't support that. That is evil.
You don't get to redefine sin because a word offended you. You don't get to shrink.
Damn, Matt, you look huge. That's what happens when you actually get some depth and perception. I'm just saying.
I see what you did there. I see what you did there with the.
Let me go ahead and click my mouse.
Scripture down to something as shallow as language while ignoring what actually corrupts a soul. Taking the Lord's name in vain is not about a word. It's about claiming God while serving yourself. It's about wrapping your ambition, your ego, your agenda in borrowed holiness and calling it righteous. That is the offense. So spare me the outrage over a word on Easter morning. There was no Holy Week when Christ was crucified. It was Passover, a crowded and volatile time when Rome was on edge, watching for rebellion and ready to crush it. Their concern was control, not reverence. They didn't pause for it then, and the world doesn't pause for it now. The crucifixion was one of the most horrific events in human history, and the resurrection one of the most beautiful. If a word offends you more than what actually took place and more than honoring the rebirth of our Lord and Savior, you're missing the entire point. And pardon me if I prefer a commander-in-chief who understands that reality. A leader willing to act, draw the line, and to project strength when it matters, instead of shrinking back and standing idle. We lived through Biden and Obama. We saw hesitation dressed up as strategy and weakness framed as diplomacy. That kind of leadership invites chaos, emboldens enemies, and costs lives. At least now there's clarity. At least now there's resolve. At least now there is someone willing to put it online instead of managing decline and calling it leadership. What is far more dangerous than a harsh word is hollow faith, a faith that performs instead of transforms, a faith that signals virtue instead of demanding sacrifice. That is the deception. Real faith is restraint when no one is watching. It's obedience when it costs you something. It's choosing a higher law over your own self-serving desires. Everything else is performance, and performance has never saved anyone.
So I wrote that, and then I saw the exact same thing with Jordan Peterson, and he put it in a very different way than I did, but also fairly accurate. And it really surprised me because I had just done this and I was doing a search to find the title of the Tucker video, and then Jordan Peterson popped up and someone cut this. Let's see if the audio is good on this one.
Thou shalt not use the Lord's name in vain. People think that means don't swear or curse.
Open the effing straight.
Leroy, is the audio good?
Yeah, you're good. Sorry.
Okay, great. It's okay.
Thou shalt not use the Lord's name in vain. People think that means don't swear or curse.
Open the effing straight. How dare you speak that way on Easter morning to the country? Who do you think you are? You're tweeting out the F word on Easter morning?
But that isn't what it means. It means don't claim divine virtue when you're working for your own purposes.
The president sees this not just in geostrategic terms, in military terms, in economic terms, got open the straight. Okay. Is it possible the president sees this in bigger terms? What you're watching is a very stealthy yet incredibly effective attack on what, from a Christian perspective, is the true faith, belief in Jesus.
It's these performative gestures that make you morally virtuous.
There are things I want to do that I will intentionally not do. I will submit to a law higher than my own desire.
It's an expression of an unbelievably deep and ignorant narcissism.
And we pray that the president will take that step and that those around him will take that step, because everything hangs in the balance.
This is literally, I need 30 seconds on this from you, Leroy, and then we got to move, because this is a series of 4 or 5 videos on Tucker. But thoughts on both videos and any correlations, and if not, we can move on to the next thing.
I absolutely see a correlation, something that Jordan Peterson, who I've loved for a very, very long time, Mr. Hollandaise donated $31.40. This says, he didn't say anything. He just says donated $31.40. Thank you, sir.
It's just Maddie. Thanks, Matt.
Mr. Hollandaise. Jordan always seems to put everything in the right perspective. Tucker is using, right, he's clutching his pearls to say, you have offended me, sir, and on Easter Sunday, possibly while he is violating the work on the Sabbath his own self. I am already dubious about Tucker's sincerity in the matter.
Yeah.
I don't think he takes it seriously himself. And I think a lot of his audience can see through that. I think that that level of insincerity, being disingenuous, shines through. And you can tell that when Jordan Peterson is evaluating something like that he puts the correct amount of thought behind his words. And that I can truly appreciate.
Performance. I don't even know if it's thought. Performance behind it. And that was my original point of my comments before Jordan Peterson. Not diametrically opposed. In fact, they were synonymous. My comments came from a more biblical nature, and his came more from a more of a definition standard, you know? And that's the way Jordan Peterson works. He words matter to him very, very much, and he goes by the definition and literal meanings of things. He does a great job of doing it. Two different ways of expressing the same point. Mine was a little more verbose, but that's interesting. Iran launching missiles now. It doesn't surprise me. Like I said, there's IRGC commanders with independent orders, and I don't expect this to work. But it's not like I haven't been doing this for my entire life, or Leroy hasn't been doing this our entire lives. The moment you hear that, you're like, great, but how are you going to communicate that with everybody when you've destroyed all their command and control? So I expect Trump to come out and they'll probably say, it's going to take a little bit to get the word out. Christians and socialism. This is an extended conversation about Tucker Carlson. Folks, 236.67, we're a little bit short of goal. Would love to hit that. We want to be out of here in the next 13 minutes. Here is Christians and socialism.
I would argue
okay.
The Democratic Republic.
We're going to try to drag and drop. See if this works.
Actually argue
yes or no?
Is the government.
No. Bad.
Okay. All right. So we'll just do this. Takes 2 seconds. Drag and drop. There it is. Already done. And secondary display. See? So easy. And here it is.
I would actually argue, and this is a bold statement, the Democratic Republic is the greatest government experiment in the history of humanity. I would say
I've enjoyed it.
You've enjoyed it. Yeah. So we enjoy it. I love America. You love America.
I do.
Capitalism should not be anywhere near Christianity.
You think?
Christianity is more, and I don't like the word socialist with the weight it carries.
What?
But Christianity is socialism at its core.
Non-authority.
Just wait.
Authoritarian.
It's the marker to build social capital. You look at that early Church of Acts, and it transformed Rome within a couple hundred years, the greatest superpower of its time, to where Constantine was like, I'm a Christian hanging out with these dudes. They had no money. They had no buildings, but somehow the love of their neighbor transformed the greatest superpower of its time. That's.
I'm going to let you go first. And you literally got like a minute and a half.
Socialism would depend on a large government infrastructure in order to make the system work, right? It's just what's required. And so you have to, by him making that argument that Christianity or Catholicism is socialist by nature, I believe is incorrect. I think it's the antithesis of socialism. The Bible tells people to certainly be generous personally, not to force that through the government lens, but for you to help your neighbor, not to force the government to do so. Okay. And that's the subtle difference. I think this gentleman is way off marker. And, I think there's several lines in the Bible that tell us that we're not supposed to necessarily trust leaders to that degree. Yeah.
If you take this all the way back to Constantine and you take this back to the 300s, Constantine was diametrically opposed to Christianity because it defined fractured in the state's power. And it wasn't yet a persecuted religion like it was going to be, but the Christians were treated like slaves and peasants and relegated to outward caste of society, but had grown in massive power and massive strength in that time. Constantine saw that. It was evident to Constantine that this wasn't a notion of loyalty or fealty to God or to Christ. This was the ability for him to maintain power. In 312, there was a battle of the Bridge of Milvian, which really kind of established this. And Constantine accredited his success in this battle to Christ and to God. And it wasn't personal conviction, it was political calculation. It literally changed the entire course of the Roman Empire, which came from conquering and relegating its authority to lesser states through an expansion of the empire and conquering to one of working in the eyes with God's hand, or the dedication of his actions towards God. It established an edict that removed the persecution of Christians. And it legalized Christianity, which was a change from the Roman Empire. But this is what happens when the masses fluctuate and the masses change. It offered a belief system that was unified amongst the people, which once was fracturing the Roman Empire in its strength, unified them together. It provided morality and consequence that didn't come from humans, but came from God. So Rome saw this as an opportunity. The Nazis saw it as an opportunity as well, to use Christianity to control the people, to use God to control the people, and use the occult. I love you, hi. Use the occult to 3-0. Thank you. Use the occult to consolidate their power. All he did was consolidate power through something that was already a movement, and declared himself the moral leader of this Christian movement through the eyes of God. So when you sit here and you try to relegate the Roman Empire as some affluent metronome or tuning fork to the spiritual, and biblical proportion of God and humanity, it's a fallacy. First of all, your entire argument is a fallacy. One is that you've never read a history book, or you only scratched the surface of it, hoping people wouldn't dive any deeper, or have other people who can check your facts. The next portion of this is Christianity is absolutely antithetical to socialism. And I have put this out there for people who, and I made a post on this, and it was really simple for people. The New Liberals movement is saying, well, Jesus was a socialist. And my point was absolutely untrue, and I can prove it to you because Jesus fed his people. He didn't starve them to death.
Right.
So when you sit here and say socialism, which is state-controlled power of means of production and redistribution of wealth, God wasn't a modern-day Robin Hood. And yes, he wanted to treat people with love and respect and admiration, but God also recognized that there was evil. And Jesus didn't tell us to ignore evil. Yes, he said to love our enemy. That was one quote. And I can show you hundreds of other pieces of scripture that talk about standing up to lawlessness and evil and people who are not doing good, and personal accountability for one's actions. Because words like personal accountability were used in the Bible. Consequence was used in the Bible. Morality was used in the Bible. And those are not words that socialism has a part of its rubrics and its ethos. It's antithetical to Christianity. Christianity is founded on love. Socialist is found on totalitarianism, oligarchs who steal power from the people and redistribute the wealth based upon their own personal gain. And damned go the peasants without the food and without the water. And they take away their education, they take away their right to defend themselves, then they take away their speech like the Egyptians did with the slaves.
A little more recently than that, there was this amazing socialist not that long ago, 1939, who was actually quoted as saying to one of his generals, "I am now, as before, a Catholic and will always remain so." And if anybody can name that nationalized socialist leader, I'd be impressed.
Say it again.
But Matt, if anybody can name that
No,
nationalized,
name it. Give me the quote.
It's I am now, as before, a Catholic and always will remain so.
Oh, that had to be Marx.
Hitler.
Oh, that's right. That's correct.
So when I hear Tucker Carlson and his guests sit up there and spew that somehow that the Bible is a socialist, as in almost like a nationalized socialist document, I just think to myself, what are you smoking? Do you think God would have endorsed that? Do you think that that gives you sort of a right to turn that book into the legal authority to become a collective society, to embrace collectivism?
Right. God had no problem with personal wealth. God had problem as replacing God with money and using God as a deity, using God as a false idol. Wealth was not something to be admonished. It's what you did with that wealth and how you influence those around you with it. But he didn't admonish personal wealth. There's a very big difference.
Right.
A question Jason Robert has. Matt, personal question. When God, family, and country doesn't align, do you quote God to try and bring them back together? I quote God because when people use God as a weapon, I've always done this. My exploration into God and religion and Christianity again, I tend to use scripture more to disprove people who misrepresent the word of God based upon my understanding and based upon the teachings of people who are much smarter than me, who teach it to me. But I've done this. I've protected Christians for a long time. And even when I started 5.5 years ago, I never spoke ill of Christians. And I told people, my loyalist followers know that I was never a man of God and I never lived as such, but I would defend Christians vehemently. I defended Jews vehemently. I defended Muslims. I believe everyone should have a personal relationship with God, and it stops there. And I believe that you should be well equipped, that if someone encourages dialogue about your God with you, that you are able to be influential, appealing, and likable. So you can influence them. But you force feeding your doctrine or your ideology to other people, I think is a huge mistake.
Agreed.
That's my opinion. I don't know what that means, Jason. Jason, I don't understand what that means. I'll disagree. States and individual family members can stray. I don't know what that means. I don't know what we're disagreeing on because I don't know what it's too vague. People can believe whatever they want. What I am saying to you is the reason why I bring up God is because he brought up Christianity as socialism, and that is completely antithetical. The basis of Christianity is love. The basis of socialism is power. That's it. There's no, and stealing power from the masses. So if you want to call in, call in. You can do that. Here is another, we're almost done. Another video. Here's Tucker changing his tune. Just tell me if this works.
Aren't the country to make strikes held on think it is.
Okay. Easy fix. Man, we are going viral.
I'll say this too. If I
we're playing the video. We're playing the video right now, bro.
Oh, okay.
It's that quick, dude. It does. We don't need to pause.
Giving you some time. I get it.
Don't need it. Don't need it. In fact, it just takes up more of our time because we're up against it anyway. So let's save it for this because I know there's comments that you're going to want to have. Sorry, I'm not trying to be too controlling, but I got it.
Tucker, aren't we the only country allowed to make preemptive strikes? Who the hell does Iran think it is?
That's actually, I know you're sort of kidding, but I agree with that. I think we are the only.
No, I'm not kidding at all.
Rather, we are. That's absolutely right. The only country with the moral authority sufficient to do that. The only country that doesn't seek hegemony in the world. I do think, I'm sure I'm the lone voice in saying this, I think Iran deserves to be annihilated. I think they're lunatics. I think they're evil. I do think we ought to assess what would happen to the price of energy were we to do that. I don't think that's a small factor. It could tank our economy.
Okay, so there's one. I got another one. Don't go yet. Don't go yet. Almost there. But this is standard Tucker MO, man, is the changing of the stories. Here's another one for you. And I just want to put it out there, right? I'm just asking questions, folks. I'm just asking questions.
A standard that has long prevailed in the Islamic world, which is that you can be punished for criticizing Muhammad, is now the law in Europe.
Exactly. Jesus says, go to and make disciples of men and spread his word. Yes. Absolutely. And it says nothing about forcing your opinion on another person at all.
It's about free will.
That's correct. And go and make disciples. Disciples are willing process. The willing.
That's
Disciples.
an instruction.
Yes.
Sure, that's an instruction for you to teach.
Correct.
Not to force, not to say, believe me because I said so. It's for you to teach, which means that you have to be kind of an expert to begin with.
Right. Here's the rest of the video.
Exactly right. And I think this is pretty terrifying because what we are witnessing in Europe is the return of blasphemy law by the back door. You know, people fought long and hard in many European countries for the right to question religion, to mock gods, to make fun of prophets. This is a long, hard fought for liberty. It's now being overturned by these new forms of blasphemy law, which really are rehabilitating quite medieval laws, which tell us that there are certain things about religious gods and prophets that we are not allowed to say. I think it is a brazen and terrifying attack on freedom of speech.
Yes, and one specific religion. I mean, I assume you're still free to attack the Archbishop of Canterbury. In fact, of course you are. It's Islam.
But the problem we face in Europe, of course, is that Islam is offered the kind of protections that no other religion enjoys. We have the term Islamophobia, which is used against anyone who simply raises criticisms of the...
Isn't it amazing how this has changed? It used to be Islamophobia, now it's Zionism. And they've used this crux to the left embraces Islamophobia. Then all of a sudden becomes this anti-Semitic tirade, and it's it's not anti-Semitism. It's not that we hate Jews. We hate the state of Israel and its politics. Oh no! It's not that we hate their politics. We don't like Benjamin Netanyahu. Oh no! It's not that we don't like Benjamin Netanyahu. We don't like Zionism. Paul Rivera donated $21.10. Great show as always. Come on, dummies, almost there. $257.97.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you, Paul. So to sit here and say that this Islamophobia is a real and a cathartic, or no, palpable, not cathartic. It's a palpable emotion and problem in this country. The facts are, no, it's not. And in fact, if you look at hate crime towards a race or group of people, transgenders win the frickin' blue ribbon prize. Then it's Jews. And then second to that, surprisingly enough, whether you guys agree with this or not, it's Christians. And then it's Muslims. So for a religion that dominates from a population standpoint, as the Muslims are the largest group of religion on the planet, the amount of anti-Islamic or Islamophobia compared to what we've seen from anti-Semitism or people who hate Christians is a far cry from that. So it's amazing how quickly something changed. What was it? I wonder what it had been. Could it have been October 7th? Could it have been when people found that there was an anti-Semitic belief in this country and the Jews haven't done anything in their eyes to break the Overton window and talk about it publicly? And the moment October 7th had, and they started prosecuting against Hamas and Gaza, gave them the opportunity to start espousing negative things towards the Jews, open and take money from Islamic countries and Arab countries. and began this complete far-right movement, which I'm going to show in the next video, against Israel, against Donald Trump, and against conservatism, which is against Christianity. And this is the beginning of it. Tucker is now shifting against Christianity. He defends Islam more than he defends Christianity, and he does it under the guise of being Christian. I'm exposing that right now. It is, well, it's money, because he's not a Christian. I believe his faith is complete. I false witness, and he is a false prophet. I believe that he is completely, he doesn't believe in religion in any way, shape, or form. I would call him secular to a fault. He uses it just as other people of power have used it for advancement and performance, because there's no sacrifice in his words. I don't see any sacrifice in what he's saying. Here is just a quick funny one. I hope this has audio. Damn it. Got to get this fixed. Driving me crazy. It takes so long to do this. I'm sorry. All right, here it is. Pretty quick. 3, 2. I got to move the donation box. It keeps throwing me off. Yes, this is funny.
But it's not just mockery of Islam. And no president should mock Islam. That's not your job. This is not a theocracy. We don't go to war with other theocracies to find out which theocracy is more effective.
I thought that was kind of funny. The guy has a home in Qatar. That should tell you something. And we know he takes money from a lot of different groups. And this is something that we've seen happening for a long time. And I've tried to tell you guys, tell you this. Let me know if we have audio here, and then we'll talk about this, and then we're going to bounce.
Been following this hour the story of human chains that are being formed in front of several power plants in Iran. You are looking at these images. They're jarring to look at, Lisa, because I think Emily made a very key point here. At least in one video that we've seen, we have 2 that we've been playing. This is entirely women. This is children. These are the most vulnerable members of Iranian society and those who are targeted most. And that is who you are circling around your plant, your women and your children.
Well, Kaylee, think about the juxtaposition between what we're seeing here and what President Trump and the United States military just did to rescue 2 of our military men behind enemy lines. President Trump said no man left behind. The Iranian regime, they're willing to sacrifice their own people. They're willing to put them out to slaughter. And then you look at the contrast here in the United States, the lengths that the United States military went to get our people behind, because we don't leave a man behind. We value human life, so much so that even former Obama Homeland Security Secretary Jay Johnson said that mission was probably more daring and complex than the Osama bin Laden raid. So that's what we're willing to do in the United States of America. So contrast that with what these sick, evil, you know what, are willing to do. I can't say the word on national TV. But
the first reaction, Leroy, is to say, well, of course, the Iranians, the regime and the Shah and the clerics and the IRGC and the state media put these women and children out there. Is that what you think? Do you think that they did this, or did we recognize where they were? Did we recognize that they were on bridges and roadways and there were men there? And I saw the same video. Do you think that the Iranian people are saying, do not bomb these bridges? Do not bomb our power plants, because they know what's going to happen. If you bomb the power plants in Iran, it'll take 20 years for Iran to rebuild their power structure. They are already extremely limited and dependent upon power. Would we expect anything different in our country, even if we had a totalitarian regime, even if we had despots leading? And we believed America wouldn't bomb us, or Iran wouldn't bomb us, and we were trying to appeal to the authority, would we put ourselves on that bridge and say, don't blow it up? What do you think?
No. I wonder if the men and the women and children of that country were told something completely different and just basically guided to an area and said, hey, stand here, hold these flags, look patriotic, or something bad will happen to you. I don't know. Or were they lied to completely? Like, how do we know that they know why they were there? Does that make sense?
No, you're right. Because here's the deal. This is how you know it's bullshit. You guys ready? For the people who are like, those people just care about their country. You want to know? They were told to stay inside, and they have been inside because Donald Trump said so. And the communication was to stay in lockdown. Their government told them stay inside because they're going to blow up the railways and blow up the bridges, and told them to stay outside. There had to be a shift in the communication. So remember, this is what the Iranian regime said. We have radio of this. I can show you guys the actual broadcast that warned their people to stay inside because America was coming to bomb the railways, bomb the bridges, bomb their power plants, to stay inside. What changed? What changed is that the messaging changed. And they put these people out there in a situation that was contradictory to what Trump said and what the current regime said. That's how you know it's crap. Something changed. And what changed is they're not going to bomb us if we put civilians out there. And I promise you, this is why we're not bombing those areas, because we're not going to kill a bunch of civilians. And this is the difference between us and them, period.
Yeah, that's fair.
Crazy. Last video of tonight. Folks, we are short. We don't want to miss goal. We've had too damn good of a show. This has been too informative of a show. Go ahead.
Real quick, before you do that, 2 minutes ago on Fox, and they were talking about, the differences between Iran and every other nation where we would, protect women and children, where they tend to sacrifice it. It was very reminiscent for me of that amazing documentary movie called 300, when the king was basically like, he was engaged in conversation with Xerxes, and Xerxes was like, think of the fate of your country when I would sacrifice any of my own men for victory. And Leonidas was like, and I would die for any one of mine.
Yep.
Because that is the subtle difference that Fox didn't know that they, unveiled. But that is the difference.
You know that it's the communication from the government. You know some of that's forced. You know they've been threatened.
Oh, God, yeah.
And the reason how you know is those are all zealots. Those are people who are not Persians. Those people have embraced the Arab religion. They embrace the Muslim religion. They're probably IRGC wives and children. They are probably people who work with the state. This doesn't surprise me at all. And you know this once again because earlier this morning they were telling people to stay inside, not come out, not go on the roadways, not go on the railways, not go on the bridges because the United States was going to bomb, and then they're out there, which is a shift in survival instinct. Mel, go ahead. You're on the phone. We got you for a few seconds.
Hi,
What's
Mel.
up?
Hey, Leroy. Yeah. Having been put into that same kind of situation in a smaller episode in Cyprus, that's what these people do. They put their women out in front, and so to counteract, we had to put our women out in front with extra T-shirts and blah, whatever, and whatever, because they think and they know that the Western civilization are not going to attack women and children, and that's their whole gambit.
Yep.
It is, and that happened to be like, this is like over 30 years now that situation that I got put into, and it was not pleasant, so I'm not going to go there. But anyways, it was like, no, they know what the Western mentality is. They know that the Western people are not going to agree to any sacrifice to women and children, so they put the women and children out first.
Correct.
So I experienced that firsthand in the 90s. So this is not a new tactic. It's an ongoing tactic because they know the Western world is compromised. Like they just know.
No, it's not compromise. It's just that the Western world has a moral value of that we respect human life as long as you're not a liberal.
No, it still makes us compromise. Like it's just.
But it's not. Listen, the United States has killed 1 million Arabs in less than 25 years. We don't have a problem with killing people. The United States doesn't kill people wantingly. We flash boiled 372,000 Japanese people. The United States doesn't have a problem killing if it's going to save lives overall. Blowing up a bridge full of Iranians is not, it's going to create exactly a power vacuum that we don't want. And you're going to create the next ISIS-K or Al-Qaeda. That's why we don't do it. It's not because some moral, platitude is holding our hand. It has to do with it's not smart to kill a bunch of civilians when the population is in our corner by the majority. That's what this is, I think, Mel. Yeah.
And that's the thing. They're not stupid on that, whatever. They put the women and children out there going, I dare you. And it's like, it's an I dare you thing. And I lived through that.
I know.
Whatever. And I'm like, it is what it is. And I'm like, because they know that the Western civilization respects women and children, and we respect life.
We do, and I don't think
we don't sacrifice our people.
Yes,
for the greater good, which these morons and sycophants are. That's
exactly what they are. That's exactly what they are. They are sycophants. That is absolutely a perfect descriptor for these douche nozzles. I gotta go. I love you, Mel.
Yeah. Love you.
See you, bud.
Bye,
Mel. Always good. One last video, folks. Folks, we are literally $37 away, and I don't want to miss it. I really don't want to miss it. So we need to see if we can hit it, because this is too good of a show. Too good of a. I mean, there's too much good information here. We need some love. So let's make it happen. Let me know if you can hear this, buddy. Please make this one go, please.
Yep.
Megaphone divas who made their money and reputations being the tough guys, the Alex Joneses, the Marjorie Taylor Greens,
I want you to listen to this. This is a really good video that I found, and I don't know her name, and I wish I did. It's called Fine Point. I don't know if this is some C-SPAN or Newsmax or News Nation. I don't know, but whoever she is, this is what I've been screaming now for at least 3.5 years. No, like longer than that. And this is about people. This is about Steve Bannon. This is about Tucker. This is about Marjorie Taylor Greene. And it's not because she agrees with me, folks, but it's you resonate with things that make sense to you. And this has been pretty clear. Here it is.
Bannon's. These tough guys built their reputations and bank accounts by talking tough. But when it came time to be the tough guy, every one of these sunshine megaphone warriors folded.
Sick to my stomach and horrified at the change in Trump, and just wounded and sad and upset. He's making more and more big mistakes.
Vladimir Putin's philosophical mentor and
Chantel Ryan is her name. Thank you.
Alexander Dugin fully agrees with Alex Jones here. Quote tweeted him even. Yikes. And then Jones goes full Steve Bannon by pushing the idea that Trump is actually just unwell.
Babble and, sound like the brain's not doing too hot.
Wow. That's familiar. Remember when sloppy Steve Bannon was caught peddling the 25th Amendment to take Trump out of office in revenge for being fired? It was very credibly reported a few years ago. And then we see that Bannon was talking about this with Predator Jeffrey Epstein, about how Trump is not mentally fit and we should explore using the 25th Amendment to push him out of office. Marjorie Taylor Greene, the former congresswoman, took the exact same cue in a novel-length quote tweet blasting Trump for daring to use such language against the Iranians on Easter. Everyone needs to intervene. That was her message. Notice how she's adopting the Bannon angle, that Trump isn't in his right mind and people need to step in. Here's what the liberals and these megaphone sunshine warriors simply don't understand. Operation Epic Fury is not a war against Iran. It's a war against Russia and mostly China. Iran is only barely standing militarily because of Chinese and Russian technology. Yet, they're still getting flattened. Trump's put on a clinic. He's demonstrated for the entire world the true paper tiger extent of China's military capabilities. For years, we've been told by experts, that in a simulated war with China, America loses every time, especially over Taiwan. This is a devastating combat performance report for China these last few months. When India moved in on Pakistan last year, Pakistan used Chinese defense shields, and every one of them failed when deployed. During Operation Absolute Resolve to capture Nicolas Maduro, Venezuela's Chinese radars, including their JY-27A anti-stealth system, failed to actually provide early warning or tracking. The same Chinese-based systems failed Iran's defensive shields against U.S.-Israeli forces within hours. The failures are embarrassing. Pakistan, Venezuela, Gaza, Iran, these regions were China's military R&D. Third world countries and regions as guinea pigs for China's failing equipment. This on top of the fact that Xi has been trying to quell a military coup in his own country for the last year. China's military was a charade. Xi knows it, and now the world does too.
Somebody's been telling you that
By
for a
the way,
while.
the Chinese military can't even manage the Philippine fishing industry. That's another conversation. But not only is Trump using Operation Epic Fury to get rid of a forever war adversary, Iran, or to expose China's actual military strength, he's also calling China's bluff and showing how China doesn't have the guts to stand up and help their ally, their proxy, Iran. Iran is going all out in defense of itself only to show how cheap and useless China's military capabilities really are. And for all
listen, I'm going to end my time. Folks, we're so close. We need some help. We're $30 away. I don't want to miss it. Don't want to miss it. This is tonight. Can't miss it. It's only on good shows that we can't miss it. Can't miss it tonight. Can't. Not every show is a great show. This is a great show. Great and show. Great show. Okay. $35. Need some help. We have tried. I was asked who is the biggest military threat to the United States, and I was asked that 3 years ago. 4.5 years ago, Leroy remembers I did a 2-hour show on the breakdown of Iran, and I walked through all of their systems: naval assets, air assets, integrated air defense systems, coastal batteries, their intelligence structure, their overall threat assessment on the global stage, their military might, from foot soldiers to their special forces, et cetera, et cetera. And I told you Iran was the biggest threat to the United States, and it had nothing to do with their kinetic forces. It had everything to do with asymmetric warfare and the extension of running proxy, like Ukraine. Remember when we talked about Ukraine? Leroy and I talked about this. We both were like 3 months before. We don't know if Putin's going to go in, where he's not staging. We don't see this. Then the moment he started staging, about 3.5, 4 weeks before we said he's going in, I said, hey, Ukraine's going to hold out indefinitely. Ukraine can hold out as long as the United States proxy and gives them weapons. The same is true for Iran and China. China is failing Iran. China is a paper tiger. China's military is very much bells and whistles, as much as it was for Russia in the 80s and the 90s during the Cold War. It is pent up. It is painted up. It is glamorous, but it is not effective. They don't have 5th-gen fighters. Hell, they don't even have 4th-gen fighters. For anyone to assume that their subs, that their carriers are the greatest on the planet, they're not. They have to refuel. They have limitations. They have depth issues. They have forward projection issues. They have over-the-horizon targeting issues. On and on and on and on and on, and we are exposing this ad nauseum. Russia is the same way. There is only one military force on the planet that can execute anywhere in the world that it wants to at any given Sunday, and that is the United States of America. At any depth, at any altitude, at any distance, it does not matter. There are zero limitations for forward projection of the U.S. military. Every other country is limited by logistics, by supply, by overall forward operating bases, for resupply, for navigation through hostile countries or hostile waters. All of these limitations are null and void to the United States, because we can prosecute and persecute anything we want with our military might. That is just the truth. We have exposed Steve Bannon on this show. We've exposed Marjorie Taylor Greene on this show. We've exposed Ro Khanna on this show, Thomas Massie. We've exposed Rand Paul. We have exposed Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, and we've been telling you this for years. We've lost followers. We've had people ditch our show. People say we were rhinos. Folks, there is only one true indicator if people are on your side if you watch this show. And here are the indicators under this one global checklist. It's real simple. Are they Christians? Do they believe in the Constitution? And do they believe a conservative approach to government? If those three things are true, you should at least listen to them and entertain them. And every one of those people pretend that they have those three qualifications, and none of them truly do. And if you think I'm a European plant because I count three with my thumb, I don't know what to tell you.
Try.
These nets. Go ahead. That's it.
Well, everything you said, absolutely. I would also add that if your friends, your family, your social ring, if they are all in fear of what Donald Trump is going to say, do, advertise, what he's going to threaten next, right? Then you have to kind of assume an already healthy criticism for government. And I'm fine with that. Just make sure it's equally applied, because the same critique of government can't be applied to other parts of the world without getting yourself killed. People that would be quick to defend Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, right? If your role models are these large governments because they have a heavy social safety net, think about the persecution of the people that live within those boundaries. Mel Lowe donated an additional $50.
Thank you, Mel.
Love you, Mel.
Love you, Mel. Thank you, hon.
So if your idea of having a strong socialist society without divorced by some way of having the heavy government infrastructure behind it can exist, it can't. They have to be married.
That's right.
And the only way for that to happen ultimately is to end up in places like North Korea.
Right.
That's what we're trying to get across here, is that limited government, and I'm okay with all of the criticisms of Trump, just leave the feelings out of it.
Right.
Like if you want to say, oh my God, he is this inarticulate piece of shit, fine, I get it. Right. But try to make a policy, throw in some critique of policy as well. Because honestly, most of his policies up to this point have been, I voted for this. Like you're going to see a fucking grin on my face.
Right.
I am good with everything. Yeah, absolutely. I am a heavy critique of his language as well. And that's fine. That's fine. I can do that. That's okay with me. I like the results that I'm seeing from the White House, and I will continue to advocate for as much limited government as possible.
Yep.
Yeah, that's my philosophy.
I'm going to say the following. Hey, I'm going to say you're not going to bed. Stay up. Give me 5 minutes. Anonymous donated $40. Have a good night, folks. Thank you, Anon. I know who you are. You're the best. It's really sad we have to have Anon people here because people can't mind their own business. Quickly. Listen to me when I say this. Read my lips.
Read my lips.
Is China a threat, a military threat to the United States? No. Brenda Shepard donated 25, almost there. Thank you, Brenda. I love you. Not just from a capability standpoint, but from a want. And I'll tell you why China is not our enemy. Economically, sure. Global influence, sure. They're going to try to screw with our elections. They're going to go ahead and try to do electronic warfare. All these, this is the reach of power. But they are not a threat to the United States. China doesn't want the United States. They've got too many trillions of dollars invested into the United States. They need us as much as we need them. If they were our true enemy, they would let the reins off North Korea, and they would literally launch a shit ton of artillery and rockets at South Korea right now. China holds North Korea at bay. If they were our true enemy, they would take the leash off North Korea, number one. They won't. And they will not let that happen. China has not invaded any major country ever. Don't even get me started on Tibet. Russia is not our enemy. Russia wants what Russia always wants. They want global influence, global power through military might, and they want to take over Europe. They're a threat to Europe. They're not a threat to the United States. Russia has no interest in the United States. Otherwise, Alaska would be contested country because they would just literally take half of Alaska before we could do anything fucking about it. The biggest threats that we have in the United States right now, is Taiwan And if China decides to go into Taiwan, that is a military threat to the United States and brings us into war with China. Because until we get our semiconductor market locked up, you got 10 years until we do that. That is a threat. The first biggest threat is Iran. And the reason why is because they want one nuke. That's it. And they destabilize the Middle East. That ultimately creates immigration and forced contrition into Europe. And that takes the Arabic takeover in Europe like it happened in the 1200s, like it happened in the 300s. We know what happens when Arabs are unstable and when they're forced into Europe, what happens. And if we lose Europe, so goes the United States. That is why Iran's instability and these proxies and asymmetric warfare are fucking up the Middle East and have been for 3,000 years. But remember, this is a new regime in Iran. Iran was not the problem. But if you look at every single major conflict in the last 47 years, Iran has played a hand. They were in the Saudi war and Iran war. They were in the Iraq and the Iran war. They destabilized Syria. They put IRGC in the West Bank. They funded Lebanon. They went ahead and funded the Houthis in Yemen. They funded the JIP, the SLK, ISIS-K, the Muslim Brotherhood, all funded by Iran. They have been destabilizing. And lastly, I will tell you, out of the 70,000 plus terrorist events that have taken place in the last 47 years, Iran has played a part in 83% of them by funding or by proxy. Iran is the biggest threat to the United States of America, and it must be dealt with. Period. Full stop. Plain and simple. You stabilize the Middle East, you get Saudi Arabia to sign the Abraham Accords with Israel like they planned to on October 7th, and that is why Iran hit them. You get that signed, and you will see peace in the Middle East. The Arabs are ready to stop killing each other. The Arabs are ready for capitalism. They are ready for a theocratic republic. They recognize Jews and they recognize Israel as their land, and they have said that against the Gazan and against Hamas. Israel is no longer going to consolidate its land. They are no longer going to give up any territory. They already did it with the Golan Heights. They already did it with West Bank, and they already fucking did it with Gaza. Jews aren't giving up any more land. They refuse. And they are going to die on that hill. That's all I got to say. Take us home. Got anything else?
I'm going to take my 1 minute. Is that good?
Take it.
All right. Just what a great show. It's been a little bit since I've been able to get back on. Thank you to Mel Lowe, who donated just so much money. Thank you to Stillpoint, to Barry, to Chris Peranto, a recent guest. Thank you to Jessica Lynch. Thank you to everybody who donated tonight. Thank you, guys. We could not do this without all of your help. If you're interested in interactions with the show, please visit thedumbshow.com. We've got a great store there where you can pick up everything from clothing, books, coffee. You can kind of see some of our faces and get some of our perspectives and background stories. Please visit thedumbshow.com. And if anything else, just please like, share, and subscribe. Share this with all of your friends. We absolutely look forward to more interactions with everybody. And if we can get some opposing points of view on the show, that'd be great.
And don't sit on your dick. Not a good thing,
Don't
folks.
do that either.
Don't sit on your dick. Folks, thanks for watching the Don't Unfriend Me show. Tomorrow night, it's Olivia and myself. Scott Lloyd will be calling in, giving us an update on the Front Royal election and how that appeal is going. I want to thank my friend Leroy, who does a wonderful job. Thanks for dealing with our audio issues. It's going to be a few days until they patch this, but we'll get it worked out. We'll get it fixed. God bless. Take care of each other. We'll see you tomorrow, hopefully where the Colorado Avalanche have won the President's Cup trophy and clinched the West and #1 in the NHL.
Yeah.
We'll see if they do that. Good night, everybody.
Hell yeah.
Thanks
Everyone
for
have
donating.
a good night. Love you guys.
See you guys. Thanks for staying late, buddy. Bye.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The Dumb Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.